Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, time for us to introduce our competitors of the Garryowen for 2014. Our first heat, the riders about to make their way onto the Coca-Cola Arena. So it's time for me to say a very good morning to my co-commentator sitting up here, who's been there and done it all before. Sarah Love, good morning.
Thanks, Rob. Good morning to you. And well, let's hope it's a great day. I hope the weather holds off. I'm sure these girls are extremely excited and raring to go. Of
course, I'm just having a look through here. I've got 9 riders in our first heat. We've got 4 heats for the day, a couple of scratchings of which we will go through and get confirmation for you in a few moments' time. But I apologise for that little noise in the background. I think it might be a microphone down, Jackie, if you can hear me down there. All right, let's take 2. Just a little bit of a glitch in the system there somewhere along the line. Fiona McIntyre is our first rider out in our Garryowen, and I'm not too sure whether you were actually at the draw, Sarah, but I don't think Fee was too happy to draw number 1. But sometimes, as I say to Case, you turn the negative into a positive and say, well, look, I'm going to do the best I can. Girls, you're going to have to do as better than me to win. Exactly,
Rob. I mean, we go to the high tea on Monday evening and everyone dreads getting that first draw, but you can set a really high benchmark and everyone else has got to chase you.
If you can hear me down there.
Of course, these girls, it's fantastic and new innovation in the last couple of years. They have the Garryowen draw on the evening, Monday afternoon. They all received beautiful medallions this year. It is the 80th anniversary of the Garryowen. You'll also notice when the girls come onto the track, after they've all done their workouts before presentations, they'll be coming out with beautiful violet sashes in memory of Violet Murrell and Garryowen, which is very special this year.
Will you mix and mingle in the circles with our show riders down here? You've been out there competing so far this year yourself with a little bit of luck. I've just got a feeling this year there's an air of excitement about this year's event. I'm not too sure how would I describe it. Are you feeling that vibe?
Yeah, look, everyone's just really taking this event by the claws. It's, 15, 20 years ago we were having 17 competitors. Now we had 55 entries this year and 12 in the newcomers, which is absolutely fabulous to see. And the girls just seem laid back, relaxed. I think maybe a lot more people are helping them out. They've got really good teams behind them, which is very important.
Well, let's introduce our first competitor to everybody. It is Fiona McIntyre from Inverleigh. She's aboard a horse called Sermione, who for many of us within the racing world know him very well. He's an 11-year-old thoroughbred, and of course I don't think there's too much I need to tell you about Fiona. She's been around the show world for a long time, and I think she's been competing in this particular event for some 14 or 15 years. Her disciplines that she's enjoyed and being involved in are hunting, jumping, dressage, novelty and racing, of course. She was placed in equestrian events, of course, here at Royal Adelaide, a Melbourne show over a period of time. The horse is quite interesting because I think in prize money he's won nearly $2 million, 1.8 million to be exact. He was a Group 1 winner, was given to him, or given to Fiona to show when he retired. I think she must have a fairly close liaison with Reg Fleming, Bart Cummings, to be able to swoop on this fellow, because he was always a lovely horse to see in the mounting yard on race day. Had a striking presence about him. This is Sermione's first Melbourne show this time. Last year he was at home in his paddock. So we wish them both well as they embark on their quest to write their names into the history books as another Garryowen winner.
1-2, 1-2.
So as you notice, Fiona's dismounted and now she's going towards the red carpet for the costume judge to judge her, obviously the costume. We also have the saddlery judge, Mr. Paul Buckland. He's going over the saddle, making sure it's fitting. The girths are on the right holes, on the 4th hole each side, making sure that Fitzwilliam girth is fitted correctly and facing backwards. We're very lucky these days that we actually wear sheepskin saddle cloths to save the horse's back. Going back many years, you'd have 70 competitors out here all at once with no saddle cloth, and of course the horses had extremely sore backs.
Just having a look at conditions down there at the moment. A little windy, but not too bad. Some days on Garryowen Day we've had some wind that has blown right through you. It's been a lazy wind, we might refer it to as, but unfortunately horses don't like working in the wind. So our fingers crossed that from start time till 10 through to our last competitor, which will be in our last heat, and our last competitor today to come out will be Stephanie Barrington, former winner here on SLM Orlando, that she is getting the same weather conditions that our first rider is today, because there's nothing worse than getting out there and either seeing the dark clouds coming over if you're late, or everyone being able to compete on an equal footing.
As you can see, we have 6 judges for the Garryowen, and they all give out points out of 20, out of 40, out of 50, whichever they're judging, which I'll tell you about in a minute. The first point of call with the judge is the general appearance, and she's looking for the overall picture, the plats, the horse, the conformation, if the rider's the right height, coat, everything just in general that just floats your eye with the picture of the exhibit and the rider. Then they'll go on to the saddlery judge, and the ladies dismount. They go over and get the costume judged. Then they will remount, go and have a warm-up, and then do their workout. And there is a riding judge over there, a manners and paces judge. When they finish their workout, they'll come out, and Mr. Peter Hegney will judge them on conformation and soundness. So the general appearance is out of 20 points, the saddlery's out of 20 points, and the costumes out of 20 points.
Well, this particular event is very dear to you. Of course, it is not all that long ago. You had your moment of glory out here. I was really disappointed to learn yesterday that you lost your old horse that you won the Garryowen on, because I think it's a little bit more than just having a horse out there that you compete on. You become a real bond, Sarah, don't you? You become mates, you become friends. He's got to rely on you, you've got to rely on him or she, whichever you're riding, whether you're riding a male or a female horse. But old Talagard is no longer with us, but lovely to see you remembered him yesterday with a little memento. No, don't get emotional on me, dear, will you?
Oh, it was, yeah. I was very emotional yesterday, and I'm a little bit choking up now. But yeah, I was very lucky, and unlike most of these horses out here, Buzzy was a Clardy cross who came from the mountains in East Gippsland. Dad paid $500 for him, and we got him as a baby. And then I hunted him, evented him. And then he went to FEI dressage. We did show hunting. He was champion at Canberra Royal, Sydney Royal, reserve champion here 3 times, working hunter, I think, at Sydney and Canberra. And then, of course, I was lucky enough to be placed 3rd the first year I rode in it, and then we won it the following year. And unfortunately, he was put down the day after Melbourne Cup last year.
Well, this particular event, the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout, is undoubtedly the most sought-after award by female equestrians. I was nearly going to say in the Southern Hemisphere, and I think I will stick with that, because we did have an international competitor here one year. It's, of course, many of the young ladies that we see out here have probably been riding at Royal Melbourne shows and various shows around Australia since their very, very, very early ages, of perhaps even leading rein events and progressed through. It's actually unknown who named Garryowen and perhaps why he was so named, but history tells us that Garryowen is an old Irish quick-step tune which dates back to the 1770s. The fact that Garryowen is the most famous of all regimental marches, also in the army as well. But that tragic story of Garryowen, I think, is what we all have come to learn, which unfolded on Saturday, March the 24th, back in 1934, when a blazing fire took hold in racing stables of Mentone-owned Bill and Violet Murrell. Garryowen perished in that blaze, along with another thoroughbred mare and their dog Billy, and Violet's desperate attempts to save her cherished horse, who was stabled at the rear of the building, of course, was in vain. Violet was fatally burnt in her efforts to save her champion show horse, and her husband Bill severely injured to later lose his own life from that event as well too. And I think Violet will be remembered as one of Victoria's foremost show and cross-country competitors, and an advocate, of course, for women's rights as well too. To this day, as I mentioned before, women travelled the length and breadth of Australia, and the event has also attracted international equestrians in an attempt to add their name to a long list of champion horsewomen and their mounts on the prestigious Garryowen Perpetual Trophy. Actually, as a little side adjunct to that too, I can tell you, or share with you, a few of Violet Murrell's close friends gathered at St Kilda Road headquarters of the Victorian Police to discuss Violet's bravery and a fitting memorial. And it was decided that a suitable recognition would be a perpetual memorial trophy to be competed for annually here at the Royal Melbourne Show.
I'm sure Fiona will be breathing a sigh of relief after that workout. She did very well. Now you'll see she's going forward to see Mr. Peter Hegney. He'll overlook the horse, looking for the conformation and the soundness. And then the horse will trot straight towards the screen and then back to make sure he moves correctly. And then she can go back down to the locker and have a drink, I think. Now doing a workout is Laura Thomas, riding Tattinger.
Well, Laura Thomas from Diggers Rest is 26 years of age. And I think we've got about 7 first-year equestrians here this year, and Laura is one of those. So, Laura, we wish you the best of luck. Let's hope this is the start of many times, or many more times, that you are going to take part in this wonderful event. Tattinger is a 6-year-old horse, thoroughbred. And it was interesting before, Sarah, I said most of these young women here were probably riding at a very, very young age. On her questionnaire, when did you first become involved with horses before I could walk? So I can just envisage this young lady in nappies sitting on a pony somewhere. But that's the world we were brought up in, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed. And, you know, most of us went through the hard, well, not the hard yards, or great days, you know, pony club, gymkhanas, you know, novelties, especially the older ones like me. The younger ones, I think, these days are doing more lead reins, which didn't exist in my day. And the young kids are basically professional showies these days. I think the people more around the older people, you know, jumped, novelties, more a variety in the sport.
Well, our young lady who has been helping me up here in the show so far this year, and I think she really would like to be down there herself, is about to catch up with a few of our competitors. Casey, good morning to you. Who have you got?
Good morning, everybody. And yes, I would love to be sitting on the back of one of these horses, trying my best at the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. Who knows, maybe one day I might have that pleasure. But this particular lady is no stranger to the Garryowen. Great to be here, Fiona. You've obviously drew the unlucky first one out the other day. How'd you feel about that?
Yes, I sort of had that feeling I was going to draw number 1, so I think I jinxed myself.
Unfortunately for most of us there, your face was the dead giveaway when you got it. Obviously preparations this morning, they didn't have to start quite so early, even though you were number one. Tell us about getting ready, what it takes, the hours that are involved.
Sure, so up quite early this morning, around about 4:45, down here to the stables and worked Sermione, worked him and then had a practice around the area this morning where it was set up, and then back to wash him, plait him and just get him prepared, so yeah.
We obviously heard before Rob and Sarah up there touched base on his racing career. He was a stellar racing horse. In fact, I remember watching him in many a race. Tell us a little bit about how you got to get a horse of this particular calibre.
Yeah, as I've sort of mentioned previously, Reg Fleming, who's Bart's foreman, is still involved with the horse and is here today watching him, which is absolutely fantastic. And also in partnership with Cheryl Lee Patterson, we've had quite a few horses off the track together. So I'm just incredibly lucky to have such a beautiful horse to work with.
Well, good on you, Fiona. I'm sure you can breathe a sigh of relief now because your workout's done. Sit back, relax and watch the rest of the day unfold. And to Sermione, it's great to see him do something else. And Reg, you're out there in the crowd somewhere. I hope you enjoyed that too.
All right, thank you, Case. Let's get back to our first-year competitor here in Laura Thomas. A little bit more about Laura. Her horse's background, of course. We are talking about Taitinga. It's a long story, but she's very lucky to have him. And, of course, some of his highlights, he's been at the Barristock Horse of the Year, the Autumn Classics, and also qualified for the Nationals as well, too. So he's had a very good showing life as well, too. And our young equestrian herself has been involved in the showing and show jumping world prior to today as well too. So as I said before, Laura, good luck to you. Young rider at 26 years of age from Diggers Rest, doing her best to impress the judges out here today. Now currently doing her workout is Heidi Pickstock. Heidi from Cardinia is a marketing director. The horse that she's aboard here is DP Amazing. And once again, another lady who has been competing at shows since she was a very, very young girl. And I asked her the other day, how many years have you competed at the Royal Melbourne Show? She just said many. So I gather that we are not allowed to touch too much on girls' ages and where they've been and what they've done, all the rest of it. So I respect that, girls. That's okay. This is the 4th time she's been in the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. And she has done exceptionally well, to be quite truthful, too. Her name doesn't go unnoticed when I have a look through the record books of the Garryowen. So we'll see how she fares this year, having had that experience. How much does experience pay? Or how much is experience worth? Or what price do you put on that sort of thing, Sarah, that having been out there and done it before? Is every year different, or do you still go out there with the same nerves, the same excitement, the same adrenaline?
I think it's extremely difficult for the girls now because, you know, years gone by, all the local agricultural shows had an equestrian turnout, so they were big things to win with big silver cups, etc. But now they don't exist at the ag shows. We only have 3 turnouts a year, one at Sydney, one at Adelaide, and then, of course, the Garryowen. And so you're not dressing in this outfit 5 times a year. Maybe it's once a year if you're lucky. So the preparation is extremely important and the knowledge, but if you're not doing it all the time, it's really, really difficult to get it all together.
A little later on, when we all get settled, I'm going to get you to describe a little bit about some of the outfits, or not some of them, but they're all of the same calibre, but the outfits that our girls are wearing today. And I think to many of you sitting in the grandstand that aren't aware of what the prestige of this event is all about, it's some of the clothing that these ladies are wearing at the moment. It is so much entrenched in history and how it's made and the reason why it's made and the reason why it's worn. And I'll get you to share that with us a little bit later on.
Yeah, definitely. This is the only event where everyone is dressed exactly the same. There's the same coats, the same weight of the wool, the same breeches, the same gloves, the same cane. The saddles maybe are made by a different saddler, but they're all turnout saddles. So you just never see this anywhere else in the world.
An interesting factor about this, and I know a lot of people sitting here would turn around and say, yes, you've got to have the best of equipment, the best of this, best of that. The newest of equipment is not often the best, is it?
No, well, I proved that. My gear was 30 years old. I was just lucky that I was thin enough.
Older than you?
Old enough to me. Very much. No. Yes. No, I'm lucky to be alive, Rob, so I'm happy about being 51.
Took you a little while to answer that, didn't it?
Yeah, most of the girls, I'd say, would borrow the gear these days or get online and buy it secondhand. I know all my gear is on several people here today, so I'm quite happy to loan it.
So you can beg and borrow. You can beg, borrow and steal. There's no rules that say you can't.
Well, you know, when the coat's $1,500, the boots are $2,000 and the breeches are $1,800, you know, you really need to start borrowing, don't you?
You do, very much so. Okay, we have another rider out here at the moment in Amelia Skilbeck. And Amelia is number 1752 aboard a horse called Phoenix Aura. She was competitor number 4. The horse is a 13-year-old thoroughbred. It's interesting having a look, many of our horses here being thoroughbreds. Your horse was, I think you broke the mould. I'm really convinced you broke the mould with your horse, which I think was brilliant in a way.
Yeah, but
Great story.
rumour has it I broke the mould in a lot of other ways too, Rob. So, yeah, look, he was different, but, you know, there'll never be another one like him.
Well, Amelia, of course, has competed here 3 times at the Royal Melbourne Show and has been competed once in the Garryowen prior to today. And, of course, she came up through the Pony Club ranks in her day, and her show successes have been very good as well too. She has placed in lady rider events at various shows, and she was first, now this is interesting, she was placed first in the side saddle Turnout Royal Melbourne Show back in 2001. And we saw a competitor yesterday in one of our events here, one of our hunting events here, and the young lady was out there in side saddle, which was brilliant to see as well too. All right, I think Case has got another competitor to have a little chat with down there, my dear. Introduce your friend to us.
Okay, I found myself Heidi Pickstock. Heidi's got the wonderful here, DP Amazing. Heidi, how did you go for your Garryowen? You happy with the way everything went out there?
Yes, no, I'm pleased on how the horse went, and we'll see how it all pans out at the end of the day.
Well, we're wishing you all the best. More so importantly, we were listening before for those in the grandstand. Sarah and Rob Gaylard were up there speaking about gear, the price, the cost and all the rest of it. Some of the gear's traditional, everything's the same. How did you come across getting the gear that you're wearing today?
In terms of the costume, it took us a little while to find all the pieces, but through friends and connections we found, and we had people make specific items. And then in terms of the saddlery, DQ saddlery made all of the gear made to measure, so we're very lucky.
Well, best of luck to you. Let's hope your scores at the end of the day are up there and you're lucky enough to be sashed either first or through down to 6th. Best of luck to you, Heidi. And for now, Rob, Sarah, it's back up to you.
Yes, thank you, Case. Yes, good luck, Heidi, to all our girls down there. The very best of luck to you today as well, too. And hopefully I might have the pleasure of reading your name out, if Casey said before, if not as our winner, at least in the top 6. I think to even get in the top 6 itself is an achievement, Sarah, isn't it?
Yeah, looking at the catalogue this year, I think the girls, anyone that is called out 6th, they're just going to be delighted to have a ribbon placed on them. It is a really, really, really strong lineup of competitors this year, which is fantastic. It's what the Garryowen should be.
7 first years this year as well too. So we're looking, the future's good, the future's bright. Let's move on and introduce one of our other competitors to you here, number 1655. This is Taylor Anderson, and Taylor is aboard horse from Muridak, but she's aboard her warm blood horse, a 9-year-old Onyx Hero. And again, she was the winner of the first-year competitor. Actually, talking about first-year competitors a little earlier on, back in 2013. In fact, it was that year she was actually placed 2nd in the Garryowen. So what a buzz it would be if you're a first-year competitor to turn around and be at least in the top 3.
Well, fantastic. I remember Taylor last year. What a great start to the Garryowen. But back in 1981, my first start, I came last.
Well, someone has got to do it. That's the way you've got to look at it. She's a customer service officer with the Bendigo Bank. So she's pinched a day off work today to be here at our Royal Melbourne Show. She's looking at doing some dressage as well as just showing as her pleasure.
I think this horse is a warm blood, isn't it, Rob?
Yes. He's side by the world-rated stallion Don Frederico from Denmark, a huge 17 one-hands high hack with a personality to match, apparently. Hero is always eating things he shouldn't, such as rakes and wheelbarrows and even humans, if you're not careful, apparently. He's a true gentleman, though, and will always give 110%. 17 one hands, that's one hell of a horse, isn't he?
He's a huge horse, and for those of you, my mother would kill me for that, who are unaware of the difference in the breeding, this warm blood, they're bred for their movement. And as you'll see, he's got a big floaty trot and a big, beautiful, big uphill canter. which is different than the thoroughbreds. They're obviously bred to race. So you will be seeing several different breeds here today. So you'll see a lot of different movement, a lot of different builds in the horses. But of course, our conformation and soundness judge, he judges on what's in front of him. So it doesn't matter if it's a warm blood, a thoroughbred, a Clyde cross. He just judges what he sees in front of him.
(17-1). We were describing to our friends the other day in the grandstand, Sarah, of how we measure horses. We use a little bit of terminology, not unlike cycling. Cycling goes back to words like peloton and things as such, which all have a French derivative. In our world here of the equestrian world, we've got a language all of our own as well too. When we talk about 17 hands and 12 hands and 10 hands and things like that, people are looking at us going, what are you talking about? Well, that's how we decipher a height of a horse. And I think in many, many years ago, I think the easiest way to describe it was we never ever walked around with measuring sticks in our back pocket to find out how big a horse was. So we referred to as a hand being 4 inches or 10 centimetres in the old. And I say the easiest way for you to work it out is put your hand in front of yourself and have a look at the front of your hand, or not the back of your hand, but the face of your hand. And from the top of that pointer finger to the bottom of your little finger, across the breadth of that hand is normally around about 4 inches, or that 10 centimetres. So we'd run from the ground to the horse's wither, roughly up the side of the horse, to give us a rough idea of what the height would be. Of course, I think in the olden days, a lot of the gentlemen used to walk around with a walking stick or a cane, and in the middle of that cane, there was a measuring stick. And they'd be cunning enough to be able to get the exact height of a horse straight away, whether it be in the sale yards, wherever the case they may be buying.
And Rob, all these horses have had to go to the measuring stand, and not much has changed over the years. They go into a box, the measurer comes out with a spirit level and puts it on their wither to give you the height. You'd think these days with technology they'd actually start being able to do it with a bit more technology.
But that'd ruin it. If we went too technology.
It wouldn't ruin the stress of it, Rob.
Depends whether you can train your horse to stand up or just come down half an inch, depending on what class you've got to go in.
Yeah, and also you don't just get one measuring certificate for the year. If you're going to Show Horse Council, RAS, various other forms, you have to get 3 or 4 different measuring certificates over the 12 months, which if you've got a horse that's right on 15.2, like I have, it is extremely stressful. A lot of people here stress out because you really never want to go over, you want to go under.
And to explain that to you, that can easily be altered just by putting shoes on a horse, or different types of shoes on a horse.
Rob, you put little shoes on, very
I'll put
thin.
little shoes, okay. Unfortunately, we're not like racehorses. Not many of us just can put racing plates or tips or aluminium shoes on horses. We've got to go a next step.
And when you are measured, you're allowed 3/8 of an inch for shoes. So it's most important about the shoes you have on your horse if you've got something up to height.
Well, looking at you today, you're well under 5'6" then, because looking at those heels that you've got on there, you get vertigo wearing those.
I know my heels are one hand.
Well, doing her workout at the moment is Donna Ford, another one of our first years, 28 years of age. Donna's from Pakenham in Victoria. She works actually as a stable hand. Her horse's name is Grand Heist, a 9-year-old thoroughbred, which is relatively young in some terms, isn't it, for a thoroughbred to be in a show ring? I mean, sometimes in the show jumping world, our best show jumpers don't reach their peak till they're sometimes 12, 13 or 14 years of age. But this fellow here has probably come off the racetrack at some stage. He's last time, 2007, competed at about 6 Royal shows, so he's had a little bit of a break away from the showing world. As I said, this is a first-year competitor who's been involved in showing and eventing. In fact, it's interesting here, I'm talking about this horse being 9 years of age and the thoroughbred. She's had an association with this horse from a very, very young age of 3 years of age. So they've virtually grown up together. So Donna has completed her workout and has got some good support in the crowd by the sound of things out there. The Mullen family will meet Kathleen in a few moments' time as she's about to work out. And Coal Beach Roulette is the horse that Kathleen is on. And interesting to note, this fellow here is a thoroughbred cross with a riding pony. Actually, if my memory serves me right, this is the young lady that created a bit of history last year by being the very first person to ride a standardbred in the Garryowen. And we saw him out here earlier in the show, actually, this little fellow, the standardbred, not this horse, but the standardbred who took a champion in his class earlier on, in fact, took out Best Novice. Which I suppose many years ago, if you'd have thought of ridden standardbred in a class of this ilk, you'd sort of think, no, that's virtually impossible. Gee, hasn't times, not only times, but different ideas have changed over a period of time. This year, she's on a riding pony thoroughbred cross, Coal Beach Roulette. She's been competing at Royal Melbourne for a couple of years, and as I said before, been in the Garryowen on one occasion, which was last year. She was also runner-up in Barristock Horse of the Year in 2013 as well too. This particular horse's background, she fell in love with her and had to have her. It's one of those I must-haves. They've only been a team for a short time, but she certainly is a lovely mare, according to Kathleen, and had some wonderful success with her so far as well too. So as you can notice on the big screen on the far side of the weekly, heading down towards the Weekly Times Pavilion, Kathleen Mullen aboard Coal Beach Roulette. While we're watching Kathleen work out, question without notice, young lady, we spoke a little bit earlier on about the history of the clothing and the gear that all these girls are wearing at the moment. What have you got there you'd like to share with us?
Well, I've got a big A4 piece of paper here, Rob, and you can do the talking.
Oh, thank you. That's the best handball I've had for a while.
I'm good at
I was
it.
thinking you can show me and I'll go and have a cup of tea. Well, of course, the gear that we are talking about here, our clothing for the Garryowen, all centres around the fox hunting world, which, of course, originated back in the 16th century and the 1700s. Men's fashion called for long white skirted embroidered coats, ruffled shirts and tri-corner hats and satin breeches. Gentlemen in the English countryside found the long skirted coats suited for hours in the saddle. Elaborate embroidery, of course, silks and satin for... I can't read your writing here. Oh, I can see what you're trying to tell me here. Of course, when you're out hunting and you're getting mixed up in all the branches and the thorns and the weather of the field, that's the calibre of what the coats are made to cope with. Their tri-corner hats were too easily lost in the heat of the chase and the mud, and how could they clean them? From ruffles to embroideries to delicate fabrics. So the English countrymen shortened the coats, adopted hard-wearing, tightly woven fabrics for warmth and durability, and of course, above all, protection from the weather. At last, they had practicality and not so much fashion. The heavy coats are almost waterproof. The breeches are tight and high-fitting and reduce the chance, of course, of getting caught up in the branches, and the tall top boots, of course, protecting riders' legs from scrapes, from brambles. The tri-corner hats also embroidered, and the top hair also, or the top hat also designed specifically as a crash helmet as well too for the hunting field. It was also attached to the collar as to the coat by a little black cord, or what we refer to perhaps as a lanyard, in case, of course, it was dislodged or came off. You didn't have to get off your horse to retrieve it. It was just a matter of putting your arm down your back and being able to place it back on your head. So thank you very much for that, A4, and I think I did my best to understand your writing. All right, let's go. I nearly said trackside. Old habits die hard. Let's go down to the Coca-Cola Arena and catch up with Casey Gain, who has got another very important young lady down there to have a chat to.
Well, I can tell you she's relatively excited. The euphoria of the Garryowen, Donna, for you, our second of our first-year competitors out onto the Coca-Cola arena this morning. How did you find it?
Amazing. I was very, very happy with the horse.
You've virtually grown up together. We made mention before that you've had this horse since a very young age. So to step out onto the Coca-Cola arena and do it all, the workout went everything that you wanted it to be?
I don't own the horse, so the lady that owns the horse has had him from a young age. She's given me the opportunity to ride this horse this year, so I've only been riding him for about 6 months.
This morning, getting out there, having it all, putting the gear on, did the nerves kick in? Have you done anything to settle your nerves? Did you sing to yourself? I used to, when I was competing as a rider, to settle my nerves, I used to go out and almost sing to myself to calm those nerves. How have you found the pressure?
I enjoyed the pressure. I just did lots of laughing with my best friend, which helped me through and dressed me this morning. And my mum told me to sing, so I sung in my head.
Oh, well, Mum must have a good theory because it's my theory as well. Well, all the best to you. Congratulations on getting out into the Garryowen for the first time. Hopefully many more to come.
Thanks, Casey, and thank you very much to Donna. You used to tell me you used to love singing, but you kept forgetting the words. Well, our competitor that's working out at the moment is Kristen Nichols. Kristen, on a horse here called Willowmere Talent, a 7-year-old Anglo-Arabian. And she's been involved with horses since her birth, virtually. Competed at Royal Melbourne Show on a couple of occasions and has also competed in the Garryowen on one occasion. Previously been involved in Pony Club, breeding and showing. And she hasn't done many shows of late, big shows, because of her studies at university. Actually, it was interesting. She was gifted Tally, as she refers to her horse, after she lost an upcoming hack in an accident. So one hard luck story and one good luck story coming out of that. And this fellow here is certainly giving her some wonderful moments. And the horse, of course, is Willowmere Talent. And we're talking about the breeds of horses and the various types of breeds we have out here now. This fellow is an Anglo-Arabian. Well, just casting your eyes across, and again, not wishing to push you on the spot here, Sarah, but a lot of our competitors today having a very comfortable workout, and I think that's probably conducive to the conditions that we've got here today as well.
Yeah, when they first introduced this white arena, which is obviously a dressage arena, a little bit bigger, the horses were really, really spooky because these horses don't see arenas like that encased. They're show horses, they're going around on big 50, 60 metre circles. So when you get out here in this atmosphere, the girls are nervous, you know, they've been up since 3, 2, 1 o'clock this morning. And to go out there and they see the edge of the arena and they're, you know, shy, they've got the screen to deal with over here, although these horses have probably been out the last 2 days. So I think the first heat, the horses have performed extremely well. I remember a couple of years when they introduced the wide arena, there are a lot of spooky horses. So maybe everyone's been at home practicing in a dressage arena. All right, without confusing you, if you're watching the big screen, now this is Lillian McAvoy
one of our first-year competitors aboard a horse that many of us have known in the show arena for a long time, in Towering Inferno, or Perry as he's known. He's a thoroughbred warm blood cross, and the McAvoys, a lovely family of girls, have all been involved and riding in the equestrian world for quite some time with wonderful success. Now this is Lillian's turn to come and try her luck in the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. This is her first year. She's another first year. She's been competing here at Royal Melbourne Show for 11 years prior to that. And of course the disciplines she's been previously involved in, of course, naturally the showing world. And her CV is ultra impressive as a competitor and as a rider, let me assure you. I won't go through them all because it'll be longer than your piece of A4 paper, I can tell you. But whether it be Canberra, Sydney, Melbourne, wherever the case may be, national championships or state championships, this young girl has had tremendous success. Now here's a little bit of history for you. The dam is a horse called Inferno of this particular horse, a previous Garryowen winner, sired by Carbine and purchased him from Penny Ahern back in 2010. I don't think that'll be Carbine, surely. Unless we are turning the clock right back. One of the great names of the racing world. This fellow has had wonderful success in hack events as well too. Lily is currently studying for her VC and endeavouring to get into veterinary science. Lily and Towering Inferno have been a great combination since 2010. Now I can understand why Dad is a physio, working hard to keep his girls entertained in their love and their pursuit. Because there's 3 of them, I think, isn't there? That's still a good girl, Lily Allison Rose. You're
Sorry,
right.
I missed that. Lily Allison Rose.
As I said, the McAvoy name synonymous with us in the racing world as well too. I think they're distant relatives. I'm not sure. I think I made that blunder one other day. I was talking to one of the girls at the Nationals down at Werribee Park and said, you've got some big shoes to fill with the name McAvoy. And she looked at me strange, and I thought for a fleeting moment, you don't know who Karen McAvoy even is, do you? But I just got corrected. I think there's a distant relation there somewhere along the line. Of course, the McAvoys are here in Victoria, and the McAvoys from that part of the world, in the racing world, are from South Australia.
Well, I think Lily will be delighted with that workout. That was absolute poetry. Well done, Lillian.
Got a few fans in the crowd too, has Lillian? Unless the McAvoys are a bigger family than we thought they were.
No, they're just a really nice family. The girls are delightful.
Well, I think Lillian rounds out our first heat of our riders. We move into heat number 2 in a moment or two. And our first rider out in heat number 2 will be Rebecca Farrow and Stage Presence.
As I said before, all these girls have been up bright and early, polishing their gear, cleaning everything. Where I'm stabled, I'm lucky enough, I think there's 4 Garryowen competitors in my aisle, and Paul Warhurst, a friend of mine, he's a hairdresser to the stars this morning. He's done, I think, about 6, 7 of the girls' hairdos. They have people doing their makeup. They surround themselves with many, many people to make this all happen. The girls, not many of them would plait their own horses. They normally get someone to plait. I don't think they certainly wouldn't saddle their horses, unlike other events and when you went at previous classes yesterday. But today, it's all about surrounding yourself with people, doing your horse, putting the makeup on the horse, which of course is minimal for the Garryowen. You also notice these horses don't have any checkers on their, or shark's teeth on their rumps. Very, very formal, this event. You also notice that they haven't got bling brow bands. Everything's plain, flat, brown leather. Anyway, getting back to the hairdressers and the makeup, and then of course they'd be in their locker surrounded by people trying to get on those extra tight breeches, and probably absolutely terrified that the boots don't fit. And when they do get them off, it'll take them about 20 minutes to get the boots off because they're that tight and that small.
There is an art of taking boots off, which you explained to me a couple of years ago, didn't you? And I bet you've got that written on a piece of A4 too, have you?
I've got it right here for you, Rob.
I'm not reading it. I read it last year. Though it is quite funny. Rebecca Farrow, we are watching in her workout at the moment from Garryowen in Victoria. She's a sales and marketing manager. The horse is stage presence, a 7-year-old thoroughbred. And of course, Rebecca has been here and done it before. A former winner, placed many times. She's left something off her CV here. She's left her age. How cunning, Rebecca. What else can I tell you about Rebecca Farrow? She's been involved in all the disciplines of this equestrian world, even as a junior. As I said before, a former Garryowen winner, a Pope Cup winner, a champion rider at nationals and shows right around Australia. The horse she's on at the moment, she saw this horse whilst interstate. He'd done only 1 season. She loved his athleticism, his looks and rideability, and also loved his personality. Now she knows him. He's only just starting virtually, so his career highlight is yet to come, according to her. A very well-bred thoroughbred by a former champion racehorse in Testarossa out of Rorke's, who was Aurora's Jester mare. So he stands just over 17 hands, and looking at that breeding, was undoubtedly bred to win. It's interesting also, I don't know whether you've caught up with the off-the-track scenario with Racing Victoria. Many of our classes that, of course, are available to our ex-thoroughbreds and our ex-racehorses now here in the show ring, and especially here at this year's Royal Melbourne. If you're a former thoroughbred that has either raced or trialled, I think are the 2 prerequisites. You are then entitled, if you win a class, you are then entitled to get an extra $300 into the kitty. Now, that's why I keep telling you, go and get yourself a thoroughbred girl.
I've just bought one, Rob, and I thought you were going to buy half of him.
I'm still debating because someone down there wants to ride it.
And for those of you that don't know, Casey is Rob's daughter, but Casey's a jockey and she's just ridden her 200th winner this year. So she is thinking about going in the Garryowen, so maybe we'll have to get someone else to be the roving reporter.
I don't think we'll go down that road. That means money. Doesn't it, my dear?
She'll fit into my clothes, Rob.
Who have you got, Case?
I was going to say, it's getting more expensive for you up in the broadcast box as we speak up there, Dad. Now, listen, Lillian, first-year competitor, you've had a great time out there, but more so to the crowd. I think you nearly had to, you hired a rent-a-crowd this morning. There was quite a big cheer when you finished.
Yeah, actually, a lot of my friends and family have come out, which is really exciting.
How many team behind Team McAvoy today?
Oh, a massive load. I have to say thank you to Liz Richardson and Dennis, Mandy and Karen, and of course Mum and Dad there, and Rose. Rose was a massive help. So
I heard you mention before the workout's a relatively long workout. It's almost longer than the Nationals workout. How many times in your head would you have gone through this workout at home? Would you have practiced it with this big fella here?
actually I haven't practiced it with him, but from my PE knowledge at school, this morning when I was sitting in the locker, I was mental imaging it. So, yeah.
Go over it 100 times until you can't forget it. Is that the way it goes? Your first time out here, as we touched base on just a moment ago, getting out there, doing the workout, having it all over and done with now for you. Can you breathe a sigh of relief?
Yes, serious sigh of relief. this whole event is such a big thing. Like, I just worked myself up to it, but now it's over. I wish I could go out there again and work again. So,
To win the event, what would it mean to you, or even to win the first year competitor ribbon?
it would just be massive since it has such a historical name, and it's after such a lovely woman and story and things. It would, I don't know, I haven't even thought about it. It'd be amazing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause. I know your team's out there. Back up into the broadcast box.
Thank you, Case. Well done, Lily. I really enjoy talking to the McAvoy girls, regardless of where we're at. Always willing to talk, always very well presented, and great ambassadors for our industry. I think that's the best way I can sum up the McAvoy girls. Let's move forward. Our competitor out here working out is Janelle Sloan. Janelle is aboard her horse Divine Victory. She's from Winchelsea, just down the road here. 34 years of age. She began her involvement in this world as 5 years of age, and she's been here competing at Royal Melbourne Show for some 10 years. She's also got written here that she's competed in the Garryowen on 5 occasions, so she's back here yet again. She bred Monty, her horse, out of a Pony Club mare. And Monty's great-grandsire was a horse called Souvenir, which many of you in the show world would know. He's had success here back in 2011 at Royal Melbourne Show. He's a very, very special horse to the family, very loved and very sport. I think that just goes hand in hand with, I think, all of our young ladies in their horses. I think their horses get looked after better than their husbands and their boyfriends, to be honest.
That's exactly what my husband says. He said, I wish if I die, I hope I come back as your horse, Sarah. But God love my major sponsor. I think we've all got to have a major sponsor.
Where's your little bit of paper? You can tell me how to take these boots off. Let me share it with our friends sitting out there. We'll have a little bit of light entertainment here as we move forward in a moment or two. We're looking at Lisa McCann at the moment. She's about to be judged just to the left of us here in ring one with her costume and saddlery in a moment or two. But we'll turn our attention to the workout ring in just a few moments' time. Now, as written, and I'm reading this as written, how do you take off your top boots? Well, you'll need some sundries of equipment. You'll need a pair of metal hooks to get your boots on and a boot jack to pull them off. Tight leather boots, of course, as you've heard Sarah say before, are very much a devil to get off, especially when they're wet. If you can't get them off, here's a little tip for you. It's your job for your valet. And, of course, I know you're all out there, valets, listening to us at the moment, in his green baize apron. If you haven't got a valet, it's a job for a loved one. If you haven't got a loved one, go and get one. Find one. There's plenty of them around here this year. There's a knack to it, though. You must sit in an armchair, get the loved one facing away from you with the offending boot between his or her legs. The loved one should grasp the heel of the boot in one hand and the toe in the other, pulling the heel and pushing the toe simultaneously. Are you with me? At the same time, you should place the other foot flat on the loved one's posterior and push whilst trying to pull the other leg out of the boot. I hope you're still on this journey with me. You may think I jest, but I assure you that this is the tried and trusted way of removing a difficult boot, and just do not expect the loved one to get to like it. If they do, marry them. All right, our rider, currently working out as Jemima Draper. She's a 22-year-old from Rochester in Victoria. She is a fourth-year university student doing her Masters of Podiatry. Actually, my feet are a bit crooked today too. Maybe I've got a little job for you, Jemima, when you finish. The horse is Salisbury Mygaya, an 11-year-old, and first became involved with horses when she was 10 years of age. She's been competing here for the last 8 years at Royal Melbourne and has been out here and done it all before. So she's an old hand. She's been here 3 times in the Garryowen.
Rob, this horse is actually stabled in my aisle up the top end here, and also I've had a lot to do with Mr. Shortman. He actually came and lived at my place for 8 months, and I rode him here last year at Melbourne Show. So Jemima's doing a great job. He's not the easiest horse to ride.
So, Mr. Shortman, you're referring to Salisbury, my guy, are you?
Yep, Shorty he's known as.
Shorty. How big is he?
He's about 14.2 1/4 because he's a dressage pony. He's elementary dressage. But also a multinational show hunter, Garryowen.
Well, she's owned Shorty since she was a weanling, so they've had a long history together. As far as she's concerned, he's a living legend. She's been involved in show jumping and eventing and dressage, and again has completed exceptionally well at state titles, interstate, Hobart, Geelong. Managed to see her down there at Geelong over a period of time. And this little fellow here also has had a wonderful career in the show ring as well too. As you mentioned before though, Sarah, he's been a grand national show hunter Garryowen on 2 occasions, represented Victoria at many occasions as well too, at the South Australian Nationals.
Yeah, he's just a great type of a show hunter. Jemima actually doesn't own him. Jodie Van Brugel owns this horse, and she's the one that's had him since birth. And now Jodie's taken over the ride. She's showing him.
Interesting you talk of sizes. I mean, this is only a little fellow compared to the other 17 hand horse we saw a little bit earlier on, the big black horse out here working out. It's not all about having to have a big horse or a big hack. It's about the horse fitting the size of the rider, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's where general appearance comes in, Rob.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling you earlier. It's the overall picture. And, you know, if you're 5'3" like me, I really don't suit a 17 two-hand horse.
Look, I must admit...
But I'd prefer to be 6'2" on a 17 two-hand horse.
I must admit I've seen a couple of ponies out here this year that I've loved the pony, but I've just looked and I'm thinking I would like to see someone a little bit smaller on them, just from a personal point of view, because I just think it detracts away from the pony and the workout.
Yeah, well, as I said, that's why we've got 6 judges. So what you might not score well in, you might score really well with 5 other judges, which can still get you over the line.
Yeah.
As I said, there's nothing else like this event. You just don't get 6 judges judging, obviously, 6 different facets.
Can I ask you, again, question without notice here, the year that you won the Garryowen, when you look back at your points, were you surprised with some of the results you got, and were you disappointed with the others? And how would you turn around? How did you turn around, if you were competing again, correct what went wrong on that day, even though you did take the victory?
Not a lot really went wrong, Rob. I was lucky enough, you know, as everybody knows down here, we sort of don't go to bed early, and I didn't have to work my horse down. So I think we went to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and got up and off we went. And I was lucky enough, I got 49 out of 50 for riding, which was quite amazing. Yeah, and 38 out of 40 for manners and paces, and 19 out of 20 from the other 4 judges. So yeah, I got, I think I won by 11 points, but it doesn't matter if you win by 11 or 1. You just hope to goodness that you're not in that count back for the winner. I think there'd be nothing more devastating than coming second in the Garryowen on a count back.
Well, you get for the boys on Monday night in the Brownlow. You get a guy that's been suspended, which is not allowed to win the Brownlow, and then you get a guy that turns around and loses by 1 point, and you turn around and think, well, so close, but no cigar. But that's the world we live in, isn't it? We look at the Olympics, we look at whether it's cycling, foot racing, or whatever the case may be, we're talking about 100ths and thousandths of a second. You know, we're talking about, you know, a cigarette paper between victory and failure, I suppose, aren't we?
Exactly.
All right, here we are talking and reminiscing up here. Let's go down and reminisce at ground level.
Well, this particular horse is more my size, standing here next to this one. Don't really need my go-go gadget microphone here with Jemima, but no stranger to competing in a Garryowen, are you? Does it get any easier year in, year out?
I think I've been lucky and I've never been overly nervous, but yeah, still enjoying it each year.
What would it mean to you to be able to take out such a prestigious event like the Garryowen?
It would be amazing to take out an event like that. Just being able to ride and compete is fantastic enough though at the moment, yeah.
In terms of working out this morning, getting your team here, getting this particular horse into the ring, what was the preparation for you like this morning? A little crazy or all relaxed? Did everyone sit back and have a welcoming champagne before you went out?
Sadly, no champagne, but we're very lucky. This horse is quite sweet and easy to get ready and very easy to get along with, so it was a nice, relaxed morning.
Well, all the best to you. We hope to see your name feature in the 4 maybe a little bit later. Who will that be, Rob? Well, there's still plenty more competitors to go.
We certainly do. We have a lot to go, actually. And just finishing her workout is Gemma Heron. We haven't been able to follow Gemma, but it was good to catch up with that interview case. And the horse that Gemma's on is a horse I know a little bit about, Black Tie. He's an 11-year-old, thoroughbred. And she's never competed in a Garryowen again. This is another first year. Of course, she's been very much involved in the showing world. And the horse, Chris and Vicky Laurie, got him off the track. In fact, he was one of, as I said, I know a little bit about this fellow. He was one of, South Australia, Santix's horses off the racetrack. It was sold to Kim Durante, where he also won many championships, and then was sold on to her. And, of course, this fellow took out champion Hackett Brisbane at Ekka a couple of years ago. He's been champion at the Nationals, and this young lady has been competing in Germany, riding and purchasing dressage warm bloods of late. So she's a very much travelled young lady, Gemma Heron, at 18 years of age. She has crammed a lot into that young life. So we wish her good luck as our first-year competitor here at Royal Melbourne Show. Karen Golder in our workout arena at the moment. Karen's from up the Wimmera, from Horsham. She works as a sales assistant. And Karen's been game enough to put her age in. She's 48. I'm sure she won't mind me telling you that. Next question. Here's a question for you can think about. You're going to have to be careful how you answer it. Where's the cut-off date for competitors? I mean, I know that's a leading question. I know it's a shocking question, but you've got to be over 18 to be there. But when do you reckon you should pull the pin?
When you start looking like me, I'd say, Rob, everyone wants me to go in it again. I say, oh, for God's sake, I'm too wrinkly. It will cost me a fortune for Botox.
Well, look at
and then I've got to have filler and that hurts.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not that big, but... And then my breeches, they're 30 years old. The stitching's all gone on them. It could be a dreadful accident if I ever went in it again.
Oh, good. Shandon Park Contender is the horse, a 12-year-old. He's an Anglo. She became first involved with him some 3 years ago. Actually, I'd like to thank the girls for filling out the questionnaires because it gives us a lot to be able to share with you people sitting out there in the grandstand today. I'd love to be able to turn around and say, look, I know all this off the top of my head, but I'm only cheating. Well, we are. She's competed in the Garryowen on 4 occasions and once again has had wonderful successes in the show ring throughout Adelaide, Canberra and here at Melbourne. This fellow here, of course, in her showbreed classes and dressage. She purchased him virtually as an ideal rider mount, is probably the best way to describe this fellow. His favourite treats are carrots and licorice. Horses eat some strange things, but that's the first one I've known that likes licorice.
No, lots of horses love licorice.
Do they?
Yeah. Shorty, Salisbury Margot.
Did the aniseed, I suppose, was
yeah,
it?
he loved licorice.
Aniseed.
So as you can see with the saddlery judge, Mr. Paul Buckland down here checking the girth, these saddles, the turnout saddles, aren't used for anything else bar this event. So they're not the most comfortable saddles. They're not forward seats. They're not the big dressagey ones with the big chocks in your knee pads and stuff. They're just very flat. So probably not the best thing if your horse is playing up, and you've got to remember these girls got super tight breeches on, so there's not much room for forgiveness. The stirrup leathers, you'll notice, are double stitched leather, and they're coming right to the edge of the flap of the saddle. They're not to go over. They'll also have a certain amount of holes above where the buckle is, a certain amount below. These girls are riding in hunting stirrups, so there's none of the rubber stops that we all use. So when you've got your leather-soled boots on, they're extremely slippery, although they do have little hooks on them to try and keep your feet in. But it is difficult. As I said, the Fitzwilliam girth with the fold going backwards was for when you were hunting, so the mud didn't go in the fold. Then we go to the bridle, all the flat English leather. You'll notice that the buckles, you can see now they're looking at the bits. They've all been polished within an inch of their life. The flat nose band, the brow band. The brow band will sit right up on the top where the leather splits. You also notice the buckles all in line with the horse's eye. They'll all be on exactly the correct holes. I'm not going to tell you because you all know what the correct holes are because it's written now in the guidelines for the girls. Yeah, the number holder, the curb chain, making sure the chain's on the right hooks. You know, and you've got to remember these bridles are all handmade. They'd probably be about $700. The bits, depending on what brand you got, but I know mine was $700. You're looking at the saddle, it's probably $3,500, $4,000. I was not lucky enough, but had to because of my Fatty Boomba horse. I had 5 Fitzwilliam girths, and they're about $380 each. And don't think I'm trying to brag because I can't afford to eat, but I did have the girths.
Sausages and mashed potatoes, very cheap actually.
Mince,
at the end of the day.
Rob, mince it was for years.
Was it?
Yeah.
Actually, Casey took us on a little journey earlier of one of our riding classes or one of our turnout classes down here before. And again, just explaining to our friends in the grandstand about how many fingers you should be able to fit between the throat lash and of course, the various parts of the bridle of how it should fit the horse. And today, we are so lucky that if you have a look on the big screen, what we're talking about and what our judges are doing, we can bring that a lot closer to you people there in the grandstand. We can really look at the Garryowen from a different aspect nowadays, can't we?
Yeah, but as you can see, our next competitor, Lisa McCann, is having a bit of problem getting into the ring. I'm sure we'll get her in, but as we all know, horses aren't machines. And thank God for the red coats. He's just about, look, he's nearly passaging if he slows down.
We watched something quite special beforehand.
Yeah, now how wonderful is this? The red coat leading Lisa into the arena. I think that is so sporting. Good luck.
Case brought something interesting to our knowledge earlier on about grey horses. And, of course, the presence of a grey horse on a racetrack tends to have a calming effect on other horses around. And our red coat just went to the end of the arena when our horse was working out earlier on. Just stood at the end there, did nothing more, and the horse worked out perfectly. I'm not too sure whether that's fact, fiction, or whatever the case may be, but I just feel so sorry for this young lady at the moment, young Lise. She's probably been working towards this event.
Well, this horse, Rob, is an extremely well-performed horse, so it's most unusual for this sort of behaviour, but here she goes. Come on.
Maybe he just woke up on the wrong side of the stable this morning.
And I think, you know, looking into the crowd, it's terrifying for these horses. There's a lot of people moving, sideshows going on. The arena, here she goes, she's right now.
Well, he's a 9-year-old thoroughbred, so quite often many of our thoroughbreds can tend to just be a little bit highly strung, especially when it comes to events, whether it be walking in the mounting yard or whether it be coming here, as you said before. Look, it's colour, it's movement, it's people, it's noise, all those sorts of things. And you can obviously see this horse is just a little bit nervous and just a little bit tight.
Yeah, but she's in there and she's doing a fabulous job.
This is the 3rd time that she's shown here. So first of her new hack awards here with the Garryowen. Lisa, of course, originally from Ceres. Now in the Oaks in New South Wales. Well, it's interesting to hear you say before, Sarah, about this fellow. This horse back in 2012 was purchased. Had the name then of Huckleberry Friend, affectionately known as Huck, and bred by Pam and John Cornish from Turban Stud in New South Wales. I can remember Lisa with a horse here before. Garryowen mount horse was called Dignified.
Yeah, he was a big chestnut horse, and then unfortunately she lost Dignified last year or the year before.
Yeah, so it's only recently. So this fella here has replaced her old horse, and she's getting back together again, which just shows the ability of our riders out here to be able to just bring the horse back to ground zero, I suppose. Might be the best way to describe it. This event, Sarah, is nothing, well, there's not a lot of difference between athletes of a high level of competition. You can work, you can practice, you can train for that one day of the year that you want to achieve success. And as we've seen here today, unfortunately, things just don't go to plan. And the same as in any.
Yeah, my dressage instructor always says, you know, you only get 5 good rides a year. So it's about right. We all know when we've nailed it, and you've got to appreciate the times you do, because I've said, you know, they're not machines, and it just doesn't work all the time. And it's just so unfortunate when you've put in so much work on a day like this for that to happen to Lisa, but I'm sure she'll look forward to next year.
Now, just about to enter our workout arena is Jennifer Emanuel. Competitor number 1257. She's aboard a horse by the name of Cannibal Creek William, or Bill, an 8-year-old. And here's something a little bit different again, an Australian stock horse. The breed for a need. We see the breed for a need in a Garryowen. Don't you laugh at me, madam. You had a hunter out there and did all right. He's an Australian stock horse breeder and farmer from Lardner in Victoria. Is Jennifer. She's lost count at how many times she's been competing here at Royal Melbourne Show, but she's returning to the Garryowen after 31 years. I'm not going to tell you how old Jennifer is, because I'm now ashamed to ask the question, when do you call it quits? But at a level that she's competing at the moment, let me tell you, madam, it's a feather in your cap to return to this after 31 years. She's competed in the Garryowen on 5 or 6 occasions. She said she can't remember. But I'm sure the Australian Stock Horse Society would be pretty proud of this achievement here. Last year, the harness racing world was pretty proud of the efforts of the Mullen family. And I dare say saying that this fellow, William, or Bill, was broken as a 2-year-old by Mr. Larry Cutler, the owner of Bow Polo. And there's a great story about this fellow here. Actually, I can share this with you. I'm sure Jennifer won't mind me, because I've got it written here in front of me. Jennifer is going to be just 4 weeks short of her 61st birthday, making her the oldest rider to compete in the event. So, young lady, that's an enormous achievement for you. Congratulations.
I thought I was the oldest. I might have to come back.
You might have to. Botox and all. Champion Australian Stock Horse, Melbourne Royal, last Saturday. So this fellow has certainly got some credentials, hasn't he? Was a reserve-led Australian stock horse here at Royal Melbourne in 2012. She was reserve champion ridden stock horse at Summer Royal 2012. And she's got some fans in the audience too, by the sound of things. She's competing in this year's Garryowen, not only for herself, but representing the Australian Stock Horse Society. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, about to leave the arena, Jennifer Emanuel from Lardner in Victoria, aboard Cannibal Creek William. Well done, Jennifer. Congratulations. Lovely to have you with us. Now, for those of you that may have a program and are following the bouncing ball, we do have a scratching. Number 726, Lauren O'Doherty aboard DP Revenge, which paves the way for our next competitor, which I'll introduce to you in a few moments' time. Rebecca Carolyn will be the rider to enter the workout arena in a few moments' time, number 1400. And Rebecca is aboard her horse, London Court. Oh, look at the profiteroles. Oof. Profiteroles and cream, Jesus. Actually, I'm just looking down here at some of our friends in the grandstand at the moment. It must be getting towards lunchtime. The profiteroles and cream have just arrived.
You don't look like you need any, Rob, since last year. I believe you've had heart surgery, and I don't think your specialist would be too thrilled if he knew you were going to be profiteroles.
No, that's what you get for falling off push bikes, you see.
I had a heart attack.
No, what it resulted from?
The stomach.
No, I had a bad crash, as many of my friends out there know, on a push bike, and because I still race the bike occasionally. And
Well, it must run in the family, because Casey, our roving reporter down there, actually had a bingle on Friday and broke her ankle. So all you people out there, the hackies, toughen up, because look at our jockey down there with a broken leg.
She's walking all right at the moment. She's in a moon boot up here, and she said, Dad, there's no way known I'm going down there with a moon boot on Garryowen Day. So she's doing it a bit tough.
She's ignoring us, I think.
I'm not ignoring. I'm just walking, pretending that everything's okay and no one can secretly see me with a slight limp. Believing me, ladies and gentlemen, there was no way I was going to come into such a prestigious event wearing my moon boot, which is in there here. But I have with me, obviously, a very popular lady with us, in Jennifer. Quite a story here. Wonderful horse. Very versatile, obviously. How did it feel riding out there in the Garryowen with this bloke? How did you come to be a pair?
I don't know. It's such a surprise. Well, it's so surreal for me. I bred him. He's done his years in the stock horse classes and been very successful. And then I decided to make him a show hunter. He only had 3 shows to go to because of our hot summer and a lot of other reasons. But we only had 3 shows to qualify in, and he did it in the only 3 I took him to. I came home that night and realised that I'd actually qualified him to compete as a show hunter at Melbourne. And then I was sitting there that night and reminiscing on what I'd done, and I thought, oh my God, not only is he in for the show hunter classes, but I could actually, or someone could ride him in the Garryowen. And why not me? And then it sunk in again that if I did it, he would be the first heritage bred stock horse, meaning that his parents are both camp draft parents. He really should be out in the camp draft arena, not in the glitz and glamour of an event like this. There have been other first crosses or registered stock horses go in, but not with his heritage breeding. So he is creating history just by being here. And I'm also the oldest competitor to ever compete. I'm nearly 61. So it just shows you, all you oldies, you really should get back into it. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Well, just apologise to Jennifer for me down there, Case. I couldn't resist myself when I had a look at her CV. Jen, I did actually mention your age before, but what a fantastic story both you and your horse have presented with us here today.
It's a great story, and speaking all things boot as well, and you're really enjoying the experience. I can see it. But she is crying, ladies and gentlemen, for just to let you know. She's actually got tears in her eyes.
My co-commentator up here's got a nose out of joint because she reckons she was the oldest. Now she's going to have to make a comeback.
Everyone's making comebacks out here. It's going to be good. Sarah, put your boots on and get back out. But speaking of boots, getting them on and off, we heard there was particular difficulty in either getting them, not so much getting them on, but trying to pry them off is going to be a point. Have you got some helpers out there?
Oh, definitely. I've got a fantastic team behind me, and I wouldn't be here without them. But getting your boots off is how the commentator said, with your foot on their bottom, and all they've got to do is just hold the heel, and then you're doing all the work, and it's the only way to get them off.
Just before you go much further, Case, young lady, we've missed her workout out here, young Rebecca Caroline. I just wanted to take the opportunity of introducing her as another first-year Garryowen competitor. Rebecca aboard her horse London Court. She's a rural merchandise consultant and another first-time Garryowen equestrian eventer, so we wish her good luck And hopefully, as we said before, with all our ladies out here today, maybe we might be reading their name out as best first year or even in the top 6 of our equestrians a little bit later on.
And I'd like to thank too, obviously, Jennifer, and we wish her all the best for the Garryowen. She's creating a little bit of 2 little bits of history into this wonderful event, being the stock horse and herself for her age. Without bringing, you shouldn't bring up a lady's age, but best of luck.
All right, well, let's go to a very young girl now, Beverly Richards. Rebecca Richards. Rebecca's only 32. She's from down my way at Geelong. She's an operations manager. She rides a horse called Diamonds, whom we've seen a fair bit of. She's been competing here at the Royal Melbourne Show for 30 years. So, doing the math, that tells me she's been in a leading rein competition at 2 years of age, and she's been coming back ever since. Good to see her that she's got no one out there having to lead around today.
Diamonds is an extremely accomplished show hunter hack. Also, he's a Grand National, a Grand National and National winner.
Okay, just coming back to you, Jennifer's mum is 93. Well, now we know, can I just butt in for a moment? Now we know why Jennifer's had tears in her eyes down there. Because in the crowd today is her mum. Did you say 93 years of age, Case?
What was that? I missed that. I'm sorry.
Did you say Jennifer's mum's in the crowd at 93 years of age?
She is. She's in the crowd. She's very proud. And one of the things that I heard as Jennifer rode past, she said, "Mum, are you proud of me today?" And her mum was in tears and she was crying. So it's a real family affair, the Garryowen.
Oh, so are we.
Oh, getting a bit teary.
We're all in tears. Well done. Good stories. Some wonderful stories, of course, surrounding this year's Melbourne Show. And here's yet but another one.
So talking about tears, that's why you have the white hanky in your right pocket of your jacket, Rob. It's one of the important things that these girls do have in their pockets.
I've already teared up once today. Case will verify for this. We had a wonderful story this morning from the CWA, actually. It's a lovely lady in a wheelchair and not in the best of health. And our CEO, Mr. Mark O'Sullivan, was making a little presentation down there because she's been coming here to the Royal Melbourne Show from Findlay to work in the CWA marquee for 40 years. The girls had all got together to make a little celebration. It was a wonderful way to start the day. And yes, I teared up this morning up in the broadcast box because I thought it was lovely. I thought, well, maybe in a few years you might have to wheel me out. I wouldn't mind coming to the Melbourne Show after 40 years. And it feels like 50 since I've been here.
Just as long as you wheeled out the right way, Rob. There's varying ways of being wheeled
I've been
out.
there. There's nothing on the other side. I've had a look. There's nothing there.
Nothing there.
Let's get back to business. Christine White. Kristen is 35 from Whittlesea, the manager of Mayfield Farm Stud, aboard her horse, the Russian, or commonly known as Walter. She became involved with horses at a very, very young age. She's missed the Melbourne Show just once, and this is her 3rd time in the Garryowen. Another one of our riders who is multi-talented in the facets of show jumping, dressage and hunting, and has had great success in the Barrostock Horse of the Year in 2012, 2013. Both in show hunters and working hunters, and also in the Amateur Show Jumping Championships in 2013. So she's a very capable young lady from your end of the world, in the hunting world as well.
Yeah, Kristen is. I've hunted with Kristen for several years, and I'm also stabled next to her. And Kristen this week has actually been at the Australian Show Jumping Championships and had a very successful week. So she's another all-rounder.
Talking of mums, a big happy birthday to my mum, Lynn White. Her mum is not my mum. Her mum, of course, Kristen's mum, not my mum. But happy birthday, mum, from all of us. I hope you're proud of your girl out there today.
Kristen, the Russian, actually measures 17.2, so he's probably the biggest horse in the Garryowen this year.
By 0.1. We had a 17.1 out there before, the big black horse, remember?
Oh, beg my pardon.
So we've now got one 17.2.
Oh, yeah, that was Towering Inferno, yeah. Kristen's another one that had the hairdresser in the aisle this morning. Young Paulie was very busy doing everyone's hair for the girls.
Now you know why I bring my wife everywhere with me.
Rob, you don't have enough hair to worry about it, darling.
I know, they've got names. They've individually got names now. She said to me, because she's an ex-hairdresser, and she said to me the other day cutting my hair, I said, have you finished? She said, yes, it doesn't take long now. Smart.
My grandfather used to say, where the street's busy, the grass never grows. So as you'll see, we've got another girl coming on here, another girl, of course, another competitor dismounting to have her saddlery and her costume checked. We'll go into the costume very shortly, and I'll give you a few pearls of information as to why the girls are actually wearing this apparel. Okay, so we can see the costume judge, she's checking that the stock's tied correctly, that the vest is done up correctly with the right buttons done up. She'll check the vents, the lining. Now the breeches, she's looking at the line of the breeches.
Do you talk to the judge down there, or is it all very formal?
Yeah, look, they're having a chat.
I'm having a look down there. There's some smiles.
I think that's Penny Ahern down there actually being judged. And look, everyone's very relaxed. It's fabulous to see everyone smiling.
Well, there's some good support for our rider just completing their workout.
No, Kristen would have huge support down here.
Gee, he's a lovely big fellow, isn't he? Yeah. Plenty of him.
Yeah, he's gorgeous. He's actually very successful. I don't know if Kristen's written her credentials in there. The horse's credentials.
Well, our next rider to join us in the workout will be Sue Thompson. Sue's from Croydon. She's an administration manager. Her horse is Concerto. This fellow is a thoroughbred, 16 years of age. She's another lady who's been competing here for many, many years, some 30 years. Sue has been competing here at Royal Melbourne. 8 times she's been in the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. Closest she's ever got was 5th in 2011, riding this particular horse, Concerto. He's been a great hack himself. I think was reserve champion at Sydney Royal, winner at Barrostock, Vasa Horse of the Year, and got supreme lead at Sydney and Canberra Royals as well too. Wind's starting to really get up down there now, unfortunately. This fellow was, sorry, darling, this fellow was bred and of course raced in Queensland, but being kind to him, not very well. So he's found a new home in the show ring.
So as this event moves on, it's getting more difficult for these horses to concentrate with the wind getting up. I think the girls in the earlier heats might be very happy that they had to get up a couple of hours before the others. But as long as the rain holds off, it should be all right. There's everyone hanging onto their fascinators in their hats.
I'm just having a look at the tops of the gum trees out to my left here at the moment. It's just starting to be a little bit swirly, isn't it?
Oh, and the sand's coming off the exercise arena. It's horrible.
Well, while no one's around, might be a good time for the water truck.
Could be. Now we had water last year, Rob, on the arena during the event, if you remember. The sprinklers came on. So getting back to the costume, the breeches are cavalry twill buff breeches. They're all hand stitched. You'll notice, I don't know if we can get a close up at all, maybe the camera guys can. You'll notice they've got 5 buttons down the front of the knee, which keeps the gaiter strap from the top boot on. Now, these days, the gaiter strap has absolutely no purpose at all. In years gone by when hunting originated... Sorry, Casey, you go on and I'll come back.
I've got with me, obviously, Kristen. Kristen, as we mentioned, is aboard the Russian. Now, ladies and gentlemen, have a look at the size of me as opposed to this horse. This horse is very tall, and obviously I'm thinking that you would have needed a step ladder this morning to get on this bloke, especially with all this lovely gear on.
I did. I actually needed a ladder and my dad to leg me on top of the step.
It always helps. Now, listen, getting out there, we've spoken about preparations through some of our different competitors, but one question that I haven't asked so far is for someone like yourself to take us through a workout. When you're in the workout and you're out there and it's just you and your horse, what are you thinking?
Well, basically, I try not to focus too much on what's going on outside me. Just little things when you're riding that you know to do. If he looks at something, you know, a little bit of counterflexion, those sort of things. Basically, as long as he was a good boy, that's all I worried about, really.
How long have you been associated with this fella?
I actually don't own him. He's owned by Georgie Callock. He lives with me, and I think he's been with us for about 12 months now.
And you're enjoying a great association too. What would it mean to you to win this prestigious event?
I think, along with all the other competitors in here, it would just be a complete honour. It would be very, very exciting.
Well, we're wishing you all the best. Thank you very much. We'll let you join the lineup. Rob, Sarah, it's back up to you.
Yeah, I think that was very modest, wasn't it?
Oh, if you knew Kristen, she's fairly laid back. There's not much rushing with Kristen. She's shaking her head at me. I know you too well, Kristen.
Well, that's why the horse works better for you, see?
No, there wouldn't have been much stress in that camp apart from the birthday lady, I think.
I heard you were in party mode last night. The word filled it up here. It was just in page 2 of today's Herald Sun, actually.
Yeah, well, it probably could be, to be honest. There was a bit of a party going on in our aisle, but, well, someone's got to do it, haven't they?
Now, you were talking about... Now, I'm hoping my cameraman can focus in here. You were talking about jodhpurs and buttons and knees in a moment or two. So, with a little bit of luck, if my cameraman is hearing me at the moment, we might be able to... focus in a few moments' time. Annabelle Reedy is about to begin her workout. Annabelle is a young 20-year-old from Barrel in New South Wales. A lot of our New South Wales riders are having a great success at Melbourne Royal this year. She's a student. DP Mayfair is the horse. She hasn't been to Royal Melbourne before, and this is her Garryowen, first Garryowen as well too. This fellow here has had great respect. Now, we're starting to have a little close look. My cameraman must be listening to me, Sarah. He's on the boots, but he's probably on the wrong spot that I want to see. If he can just go up a little bit. The judge is in the way. We won't bother telling him to get out of the way, though, by any stretch of the imagination. But we might be able to have a look at this rider when she comes over to be judged at the next facet.
As I said, you know, this wind is getting up. It's getting pretty spooky out there, and Mayfair's just giving Annabelle a bit of a tough ride here at the moment, and he's probably one of the most experienced horses out here. I think Annabelle actually might be in my coat, I believe. Isn't it nice to see that it fits someone that's 21 when I'm 51?
There's a line there, and I'm not going to touch it, just in case I get sued. Let me get back to... we haven't had much luck being able to... Here we're getting closer. We're getting closer.
Right, so
what you're talking about.
So what I was saying, in the old days, the boots were way up, halfway up that lady's thigh, and they, because of the bushes and the brambles and whatever, so they didn't have their legs cut. And then when it got hot, they would roll the top of the boot down below their knee. And the inside of the boot was brown leather, the outside obviously black leather, but they would use the gaiter strap to keep the boot up. So then over the years, they've shortened the boots, but they have kept the gaiter strap there, but it serves absolutely no purpose, just tradition. But it is very important where it sits on those buttons, in between the second and the third button. Yeah, and the men in the hunt field, and you'll see most of the show jumpers, have black boots with brown tops, and that's where it came from the thigh-high boots.
Pardon me for butting in here. Is that a real prerequisite when we talk about that style of boot with the gaiter strap at the top? That is a prerequisite of today's dress?
These boots are not used anywhere bar this turnout. The girls now have big, high Piaf boots. They could be patent leather. They've got bling on them. They've got everything. These are the old cut-off straight boots, and they're extremely hard to get. These would be all imported boots. I'm not sure if anyone makes them in Australia. I know my boots, I had them, the Cavallos from Germany, but I had to get the Piaf tops cut off them to make them straight.
Well, there's a great shot of what you're talking about, actually.
Yep. Now, you can imagine these boots are really, really tight. They would have been boned within an inch of their life to get the, what am I saying, make the leather smooth, the grain of the leather.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, you spit and polish, water, parade gloss, just
Vaseline
go
and
round.
milk.
No Vaseline, Rob.
I'm serious.
No.
You want to get a real buff on your boots?
Yeah, I'm going to use Dubbin too next time.
Oh,
so,
okay,
yeah.
good. You see you're not an army girl.
Right, so
Annabelle Mulready. We're about to welcome in a few moments.
she's done. She's done.
In fact, Annabelle, I think, has completed a workout, actually.
Rebecca Allen.
Rebecca Jenkins, or as we knew, Rebecca Allen. Now, Beck's been out here and done this before, and the Garryowen. She's one of our riders who have ridden both disciplines at the highest level of show jumping and also working in the show ring as well too. She's been around the show world for many, many years. This is number 7 for her as far as the Garryowen's concerned. She's a 34-year-old young lady from Glamorgan Vale in Queensland.
This horse, for all everybody would be extremely interested, has actually been at the Australian Show Jumping Championships this week. He's a true all-rounder. Becca came 4th in the Garryowen in 2009. Fourth, yeah, and I was 3rd, and you know that was one of the countbacks. I beat Beck on a countback.
Well, it's interesting. Her success through the Garryowen has been good. As you said, she was 4th. She was 5th in 2008. Gleneagles Giorgio, 4th in 2009, the year you were talking about. And Crown, which was owned by Vicky Laurie. I think she was 2nd back in 2004. So she's been knocking on the door. Maybe this year it might come ajar. As I said before, many of us know her through the show jumping world. Let me tell you a little bit of her horse, commonly known as Elvis. Is a jack of all trades, as you mentioned before, Sarah. Not only a successful show jumper, hunter, but here we see him now being brought back to the level of competing here in this Garryowen equestrian event. This is, of course, shown by Becky and her husband, Stuart. We saw a horse beforehand on his CV, loved to eat licorice. Well, this fella likes to eat his rugs and cause large headaches. For Mum, being Beck. How hard to be able to bring a horse back from the disciplines of last week of show jumping back here to be so responsive to the aids of Beck here for this?
Just incredibly difficult. It's not only responding to the aids and the hacking, but also the conditioning of the horse. You've got to remember this horse is probably jumping 5'6" World Cup show jumping, and then he's got to come out and compete as an open hack. It's very, very difficult to do both. And as you can hear, the big round of applause. It's.
I think they can appreciate what we've just seen. What you've just been talking about as well too. Well done, Beck.
I don't think there's many horses that have, well, not show jumpers and competed in the Garryowen virtually within 5 days. And there's plenty of horses that have jumped and evented, but not within such a short time. I think actually the other horse she had, Jackie Winter, he was a show jumper as well. She jumped him and rode him in the Garryowen. I'm sure Casey will interview him.
Yes, the prefix of RSB, Jackie Winter.
Yeah.
You're right,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry. Now, another one of our first years we'll introduce to you in a few moments' time will be the last rider in our Group 3 event. Or our Group 3 of this event, I should say. And she's aboard a horse called Westwood Masterpiece, and that's Lisa Apps. Well, working out is Lisa Rapps, 49-year-old lady from Berwick, who's a dental receptionist. Which reminds me, I've got an appointment at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Westwood Mastercast is the horse. He's an 8-year-old thoroughbred riding pony cross. And she's been competing at Royal Melbourne Show for several years. First time in the Garryowen. This horse's breeding is interesting, out of the famous Galloway mare Pure Cast. Hence the thoroughbred riding pony cross. It's interesting how she got involved into this discipline at the moment. Her nieces were Holly and Sophie Gross. They had a horse at home, so decided she would take up riding again after 10 years of not riding and over 16 years of not competing. Qualified and decided to come to Royal Melbourne Show. She's usually been the strapper, not the competitor. So Lisa out here today trying, like many of our girls out here, to go down the road and put their name into the history books of the Garryowen.
Right, so I'm not sure if the camera can go back down on the costume judge. And we'll have a look at how to tie a stock. If they go front on, we'll have a look at the stock. And these girls, as I went through the coat, everything's here we go, if they can go up a bit higher. So they'll have a double cuffed Swiss cotton shirt with only small gold cufflinks and presumably your great-grandfather's with his initials engraved on them. So it's a collarless shirt, and then the stock is attached by two studs, which are a large stud at the front, which goes through the front of the stock, and a small stud at the back, and there's a little bit of elastic, and the elastic is wound around the stud to keep the stock in place. Then it's tied. I'm sure Caro Wagner has been extremely busy this morning. She's the major stock tyre here.
Well, it's interesting. I was talking to Caroline the other day because a couple of young ladies had bought some tyres down there and asked them, I said, Rob, can you tie them for me? Because not too many of our girls know how to do a Winchester knot. And I said to Caroline, look, I'll produce a little DVD for you. So every time someone buys a tie, you can show them how to do it. She said, I'm going to have my work cut out on Wednesday morning, Rob, because I'm going to be tying stocks left, right and centre. I'll be the most popular girl on the ground.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, as I go back, the stock is actually, it's attached with a 2.5-inch gold tie pin, and then the side parts of the ends of the stock are then pinned to your shirt. And a lot of people don't know why we wear a stock. In the hunt field, the stock was tied fairly tight, and that was in case you had a fall. It was hopefully going to help your neck. God help us. And also so the water didn't run down the back of your neck when it was raining. But most importantly, the stock was, if the horse was injured, you'd take it off, wrap it around the horse's leg to stem the blood flow, and then use the stock pin to secure it.
It can be used as a sling as well too.
Oh, and a sling, I beg my pardon.
Sorry, yes, that's okay. Should I question you? No. All right, let me take you on a little journey into our workout arena again. India Mitchell, India, the first rider to go in our fourth heat. And the wind having a little effect on India and Rawwood centre stage at the moment. She's a 22-year-old. She's a student, Master of Agriculture here at Melbourne Uni. Actually, for you people out there, we've spotted something that probably would have gone unnoticed to you. Do you want to share with us, Sarah, what we're looking at here at the moment?
Oh, it's just absolutely fabulous to see the red coat helping India out. He's just sticking to the side of the arena and basically going with her to try and get the horse around. Look, this little horse is normally foot perfect. He's obviously spooked by, I think you can see the flags in the background there, just everything going on in the stand, and he's got a real bee in his bonnet about going into that area. But our red coat, they are just gods, and I'm sure India will probably buy him a beer at the end of the day for that.
She's been competing here for over 10 years at Royal Melbourne Show, and this is her 4th time at the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. Thoroughbred Cross is Royalwood centre stage. Has been previously involved in dressage and showing, and while she continues her work out at the moment, let's go back down in case we join you once again.
Well, down here I've got myself Lisa Apps. Lisa, it's first time out here at the Garryowen. How did you find your experience?
Fantastic. He went really well and I was relaxed and happy. I'm just happy to be here.
One of the questions, it's obviously very difficult to find a horse suitable for the Garryowen, not only in quality, but also to find a horse that you know is confidently going to carry you through a workout. How did you come to be with this particular horse?
Well, he won Newcomers in South Australia, and so we actually bought him for my niece, who competed here a lot, but she, with uni commitments and going overseas, she decided she didn't want to ride anymore, and he was in the paddock, and I thought, I hadn't ridden for 10 years, and I thought, oh, well, he's a nice, quiet boy, I'll start riding him. I got him qualified, and I ended up here.
Well, that's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. You obviously, if you have a horse in the paddock, and especially of this quality too, it's great to see him back out here on the Coca-Cola Arena at Melbourne Show. Best of luck to you, and especially for our first year competitor competition, all the best.
Thank you for your support. Well, I suppose we can put up with a bit of the wind, Sarah, at the moment. As the forecast yesterday said, yes, it was going to be a little change, but by now they were predicting rain. So much and all as horses hate wind, I think I'd rather put up with that at this present point in time and hang on to the hat.
Well, I think the people in the Pope Cup and the Champion Hack at 6 o'clock tonight, on my phone it said 90% chance of rain, so
really?
They might get wet. The saddlery judge is obviously having a great time with the competitors down there. I've never seen the girls laugh so much. So, as you can see, that sorry, not the saddlery judge, the costume judge. The girls all have exactly the same gloves. The bone palmed, leather palmed gloves with a cotton knitted back. You'll see our competitor down there just adjusting her gloves. And as you can see, the girls all have the gardenia as a mark of respect for Violet Murrell on this day in their right lapel. They're not actually judged on the gardenia because they have no choice. It's the only thing in the costume that they don't have any choice. They pay handsomely for it. They're ordered on Monday, and they would have been given 2 this morning, or 1 or 2 of them. Mostly you'd buy 2 in case the petals fell off. But you'll notice there's no gold buttons or bling or... You'll also notice the girls have got the helmets on now with the pigskin harness. Until about 20 years ago, the girls would wear the bowlers with the lanyards, but due to Oc Health and Safety, we've changed, and now they wear the black helmet. And when it first changed over, everyone hated it, and all we wanted was a bowler back. And now I think when you see a bowler, they look ridiculous. So, yes, we've gone with the helmets. You can also, on the back of the helmet, maybe the cameraman will come and have focus. As I was saying with the helmets, you'll see on the back of them they have a little bow, a ribbon. And actually in the hunt field, if you're a master or a huntsman or a servant of the club, getting back to the helmet, I will finish if we don't get any more.
We'll all know the national anthem by the time we finish, won't we?
And I'm not singing. So unfortunately we're getting a bit interrupted here. But as I said, you'll see there's a little bow on the back of the helmet, and we've got the cameraman here. Maybe when our competitor turns around, traditionally that bow would be sewn up, but as showies we have it down. But in the hunt field, unless you're a huntsman or a master or a paid servant of the club, you're allowed. It is sewn up. Only the normal people in the field have the buttons down, which is bows down, which is quite interesting with the tradition.
Well, Tammy Notman, who has been competing out here from Elvingston, aboard her horse Super Zeal. She's been here for 34 years competing at Royal Melbourne Show. And Tammy has just finished her workout. Had a few little glitches in our system up here, so we do apologise. But Tammy has previously been involved as an Australian champion novelty and barrel racing.
Tammy's a true all-rounder. She's a great competitor.
Having a look at the horse's name, Super Zeal, gives me the impression this fella might be by the great champion sire in Zabil. In fact, his racing days, he won the Morong Cup, which of course is up at Bendigo. Loves lots of cuddles. And Super Zeal, another one of our thoroughbreds now, who have made their home in the show ring. Currently working out, Cherie Lee from Eden Park, chiropractic student and assistant manager at McDonald's, and Tuba Park Gilded. 14-year-old thoroughbred. Again, has been competing on horses virtually since she was born. Her parents both were competitors and rode. She's been here at Melbourne Show for some 19 years. This is her third time in the Garryowen. And again, Australian novelty racing, 3 times Australian champion, 6 times horse of the year. It's another girl who comes here with a little cross-section of great talent. Been placed in many rider championships around Australia and South Australia, Barristock. The horse, commonly known around the stables as Daniel, has been a reliable and competitive mount for Cherie to compete while she's been completing her chiropractic master's degree as well. It's a 6-year partnership the two have had. Tudor Park Gilded. Well, the wind playing havoc down there at the moment, Sarah, in our workout arena, which is just adding another dimension for our horses to overcome.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I think the girls that struck that first heat will be feeling reasonably confident because this is just turning just really nasty. Now, these are really, really high-strung horses. And it's just so electric out there. Look, the fence has just gone again. So, you know, is the fence going to stay up for the next person's workout? So you hope to goodness it does, but you're sort of in the lap of the gods. As I was saying, you can see the arena's just blown down again. I don't know what they're going to do out there, actually, the stewards. But I'm sure the girls that were in the first heat and halfway through the second heat will be sitting down in the stables rather glad that they actually got up a lot earlier than the others. It'll be interesting.
Can I go down and have a chat with Fiona McIntyre now?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Maybe Case might be able to find out what's going on down there with this arena.
Yes, I think as quick as they put it up, it'll be blowing over, unfortunately. So it may just have to lie on the ground as per.
I would suggest they're actually going to lower this arena totally so it doesn't blow away. I'm thinking. This is the perils of Melbourne show, Garryowen, horses. Not very often do we actually get the perfect day.
Okay, so have you got a copy there? Well, here's the second of our McAvoy family, 20-year-old Rose from Essendon as a student. And she's aboard HB Beautiful Encounter, or as he is known as Peaches. He's an 8-year-old. He's a Hanoverian breed, a 5-year-old. She's been competing here at Royal Melbourne Show for the past 12 years and has actually been competing in the Garryowen on one previous occasion and was placed back in 2013. Again, as I mentioned before, with her other sister in relation to the McAvoys, their CV is incredibly long and incredibly, they have been rewarded just about in every state and every competition they have entered. Champion riders, turnouts, placed in the Garryowen, champion rider at state titles, going right back from 2010 to 2014. There's not much they haven't achieved, these young girls. Rose is studying a double degree in law and arts, majoring in French and Spanish at Monash University at the moment. And she works part-time at Nicholas O'Donoghue and Company, a law firm, as well too. Spends some of her other time doing a little bit of modelling. And of course, Jamie Carson purchased Peaches. Had to change the name as she was red and fluffy the first time she saw her, hence the name Peaches. She's now called Bonita. Well, she was called Bonita, but it's now called Peaches. Okay, now the penny drops for me, Rose. I'm with you.
Beautiful Encounter is relatively new to the show ring. I'd say this is her first Melbourne show, and she's handling the situation
Began competing in
extremely
2013, Sarah, so you're on the button.
I am.
In fact, that year won champion newcomer Hunter Hack. So that was the first time we spotted this fellow, and of course he then went on to Canberra Royal and got champion show Hunter Hack there as well too.
Yeah, look, you've also got to take into account how great these riders are. They don't own these horses. They've borrowed them for the Garryowen. They've probably only had 2 or 3 rides on them. They come out in an atmosphere like that and produce the goods. You know, it's just fabulous. It's a heck of a lot easier when you're on your own horse. You know exactly what it's going to do. You can feel it. But when you're on a strange horse, you've got no idea in a situation like this what it is going to do.
I know, but I think in some instances that's where you've got to give a lot of our riders the credit that they're due, because in our show world we'll often find that many of our horses aren't ridden by people that own them, and we'll often see... I mean, I was talking to Simon Durante the other day, and I mean, as a young boy, he was flown all around the country to ride horses at various shows for various people, where no different than a jockey. You're thrown up on a horse, you're asked to do your best, and that's the best you can do. Well, our show riders aren't much different, but the more knowledge you have of the horse and the more affinity you have with the horse, naturally, the better the horse is going to go for you as well too.
As you'll see with these girls with their boots, and as I was saying about the gaiter strap and the buckles, the gaiter strap, where it sits against the buttons, aligns with where the spur buckle sits on the boot, and there's a stitching of leather, and they all go down, straight down the leg, ever so precise. The spurs sit right up on the stitching of the boot, and the spur straps, of course, have to be on the 3rd hole or the 4th hole, and 3 either side, exactly the same as everything else. It's just so precise. There are even double-stitched spur straps. And to the extreme of the expense of this event, those spur straps are about $80. And really, for the Garryowen, you'll only get one use out of them because you put them on so tight that they don't move, they'll stretch. So, you know, every year I had new spur straps, new gaiter straps. You know, they're just the little things with the expense. And, you know, we're looking at the coat here is $1,500. The breeches are, you know, $1,850. You know, it goes on and on and on. The gloves. And these girls today are also probably doing the Esquire this afternoon and the 18 to 21 turnout. So they've got 3 turnouts today, so no doubt they're probably going to have their stock retied, and I'll have another 2 pairs of gloves.
You know what's amazed me today? You have been mentioning the cost of things on numerous occasions of being probably a little over the top. And I can't understand why you would even be thinking down those lines, because you'd just as like to go out and buy a dress worth $2,000, you girls. So yeah, what? So what?
But this is the tradition of this event.
I know
it's been going 80 years. If we buy,
it shouldn't be around cost, though, my dear, for the simple fact you go and spend money on a damn dress.
Yeah, but if we buy a dress for whatever, it's out of fashion next year. It's not like the Garryowen. You just keep wearing it.
Very true. Right, so, we're looking at the moment is Shay Hanger, 31 years of age from Murdoch. The horse she's aboard is Chosen One, an 8-year-old thoroughbred. Shay has been a familiar face around Melbourne show for many years. She's been here since she's a young 10-year-old. Been competing here at Melbourne for some 20-odd years. And has 4 times been in the Garryowen. And ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at a previous winner. She was first in 2008, second in 2011, and 6th in 2009.
And I'm just going to interrupt you. Shay is actually related to Violet Murrell.
Correct. How? Now I've got you.
She's related to Violet Murrell.
She's a grandniece.
Great niece, yeah. It's written there. Great niece of Violet Murrell.
I am the great grandniece of Violet, of course. Okay, just that I knew the family. That was all. This fellow here, the horse Chosen One, was raced by Tony Noonan originally, and has had some great success, of course, in the show ring as well too. Now, talking of the show ring and talking of success, let's go down to the Coca-Cola Arena again as we meet another member of that family. I think, Case.
Well, this time it's Rose McAvoy, second time out there, Rose. You enjoyed that? That workout looked pretty smooth from down here.
Oh, it was just absolutely amazing. She's such an absolute pleasure to ride, and I just had the best time. It was so much fun.
Your sister came in for the first time. Lillian was out here a little bit earlier. Did you give her any advice to what to expect from today?
I think the main advice that I gave her was just to relax and just, you know, make the most of it. It's such a prestigious event, and to even be here and have, you know, been able to get all the clothes and gear together is a big enough deal. So really the workout's the fun bit.
Okay, here's one for the McAvoy family. You've got another sister as well, little Alice. Okay, Mum, Dad, I know you'll be listening in the crowd. You're going to have 3 daughters to the Garryowen soon. If it's going to be like anything in my family, will there be wars over who's wearing what jacket, who's going to ride what horse, and who's wearing whose boots?
Absolutely. I think it'll even be arguments down to the socks and undies, to be perfectly honest. I think it'll be World War III all over again.
Well, Mum and Dad out there, you've got something to look forward to. Let me tell you, wait until you've got 3 girls. I know you've got 2 out there at the moment, but 3, by golly, good luck.
Yes, good luck. Although that frightened the hell out of me. You wouldn't get any swapping of Jones and undies in my house. I'll give you the drum.
Oh, look, it's just a continuation of school fees, really, isn't it? Thank God they turn 18 and they're gone from school. We failed to mention Shay is a previous winner of the Garryowen. Oh, we did. Okay.
No, we did.
She rode a warm blood called Warwind.
She was first in 2008, second in 2011, and sixth in 2009. See, now I'll ask questions later on. See, you weren't listening. Okay, we're starting to get towards the business end. As our next competitor should be Penny Ahern, number 235, aboard Montilla. Penny, a 34-year-old from Pakenham. What does she do for a living? She does a little bit of everything. Self-employed, events at Equestrienne, wholesaling riding gear by the look of things as well too. The horse is a thoroughbred, Montilla. And Penny has been riding for many, many years. She's been competing here at Royal Melbourne Show for some 8 years. And she is 6 times Garryowen competitor today. Yes, today is her 6th event that she's competed in. She's gone very close. She won, of course, in 2003, but she went very close in 2001 and 2002, placing 2nd in 2001 and 3rd in 2002. She loves eventing and dressage. Some of the best show successes so far, of course, in 2014, the Victorian State titles, Large Hack of the Year, Champion Senior Rider over 30, 2014 Barristock Rider of the Year.
This horse is actually coming out for Champion Hack this afternoon.
This fellow was originally owned by the Dunns, a renowned racing family, and trained with mutual friend Clint Bilson.
Listen, I've been lucky enough to be stabled next to Clint and Penny. My horse is next door to this horse, Monzilla.
And if you're thinking of buying a horse, they tell me this fella's for sale. I just noticed on the bottom of the CV. He is for sale. It's an absolute pleasure in every way. All we've got to do is work out how do we pay for him. Very hard to say goodbye to a horse, isn't it, once you get a horse going well? But that's the business we're in, isn't it?
No, it's not that hard when you get the cheque in the hand. It's hard to think about it, but when you get the money in your back pocket, you just go, bye-bye.
My theory always was, if someone offered me enough for a horse, I would probably help you load it.
Well, why don't you buy my horse, Rob? He's cheap. Actually, if you're looking out the back in the stand, we can see the girls coming in, and they've got the beautiful violet sash that I'm lucky enough to be on the Garryowen panel, and we designed this sash this year for the 80th anniversary. And when you see them come around the trotting track when they're going to parade out, it's absolutely beautiful. They look stunning. It's all the girls get this sash.
So all the girls get that?
They're getting
okay.
a medallion. I don't know if they've got their medallions on. They'll get them.
I do hope our media support this event today. I hope our television cameras come from the various networks. And
all you people down there, if you just look backwards onto the exercise arena, you'll see the girls.
So we'll make a lovely photo, let me tell you. So phones, and you've got your cameras, you're going to see a wonderful shot very soon. Do love the colour. It's a very soft lilac, isn't it?
Go. As I said before, don't forget these poor girls are coming out again this afternoon for the Esquire, and they're going to do it all again, exactly the same way. 6 judges. It's just a huge day for them. And then after that, of course, the ones on the thoroughbreds, we've got the Pope Cup, which is an extremely prestigious event. I think that's at 4:30 this afternoon. And then, of course, we've got Champion Hack at 6 o'clock. So it's just a massive day, turnout day.
A huge day, but a day we all look forward to. Bottom line is you don't have to get changed. Stephanie Barrington is our next rider to make her way into the workout arena. A young 23-year-old from Muradak. Innovation and shopper-based design manager is her occupation. She's aboard a horse called SLM Orlando, a thoroughbred. She's been involved with horses for many, many years, since she was 4 years of age, and she's been competing here also at Royal Melbourne for some 15 years. This is the third time she has been here in the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. She was the best first-year competitor in 2009 and then became our winner in 2011. Previously involved in showing. Her top show successes, of course, were champion rider here at Melbourne on 3 occasions, champion rider at Sydney on 3 occasions as well, to a supreme rider at Canberra Royal. This fellow that we're looking at the moment was raced in the name of Ingleby. It was a horse by Reduced Choice. He was the highest priced yearling Lloyd Williams ever bought. I think this might be the fellow, I think they might have paid $850,000 for him as a yearling. Won the novice hack at Melbourne Royal, and is a very affectionate horse and a pleasure to own, although he will chew anything. Just give me a look at that little bit of green paper over there, my dear, because I'll find out whether my memory is letting me down or not. I'll have a look at this fellow, SLM Orlando.
Well, whilst they're up there, I'm going to take this opportunity to interview one of our past winners, as we haven't done that yet today. Penny, it's great to have you down here. How did your workout pan out for you there today?
Oh, look, it was very good considering the wind's just picked up. This is a horse that's only been off the track for 2 years, so considering, and I'm not his regular rider, so he, you know, we held it together very well.
Being a past winner, take us back to that day that you won this particular event. What did it do for you as a rider? How did it change your career?
Oh, gosh. It was an absolutely amazing day. It was back on the old grounds in Melbourne, and it was on my favourite mare. Oh, tear up. She's still going, actually. She's got a lovely home in Tasmania, actually, and she's still, I think she's 21 now. But it was, yeah, no, it was an amazing experience, and it means even more on a horse that you've schooled up and had from a young age, really.
With her being a mare, we see another horse out in the Garryowen of whom you used to ride, Towering Inferno. Is there any connection there between that horse and your old mare, Inferno?
There sure is. He was the only foal we could get out of Inferno. He was an embryo transfer that we did the year that she won the Garryowen. So it's fantastic to have him out here today. I hope he does really, really well. It'll mean a lot.
Must make you proud to see such a strong family and the McAvoys getting out there, and especially Lily in having her first year on a horse like yours. Did you sit back there? I know you're in the last group and she was in earlier, but did you have a little glance at her workout?
Unfortunately, I missed it, but I heard that it was absolutely fantastic. So I really hope she does really well.
Well, best of luck to you. That'll be my last interview from on ground. So thank you for having me, everybody. I'm going to make my way back upstairs. For now, it's back up to you in the broadcast box.
Thank you very much, Case. Nice to catch up with all our competitors down there today. Thank you very much for braving the elements. And we'll let you come back and put your moon boot on. I think it's another new dimension we've done over the last couple of years, Sarah, is being able to just get down and have a chat with our riders and just find out what their thoughts are, how they've experienced today, and I think it just brings the event a little bit closer to the people sitting in the grandstand.
Oh, it's absolutely fabulous, and Casey does such a great job. But I can't wait to see her riding next year in the Garryowen. We'll have to get someone else doing it.
And on your horse, of course.
On my horse. Your horse, Rob.
Thank you very much, Sarah. On that note, I'll nearly leave you too.
stewards will take all the points up to the box. Points will be added, and very shortly the girls are all going to come out and parade around. It's a very slick affair these days, the way it's all organised. We also, a couple of previous years, we used to announce the marks for the riding and the marks for manners and paces. So you had a fair idea who was going to be in the ribbons, but we got rid of that last year, and it's brought back the excitement because no one has absolutely any idea of what's going on. So we've brought back a bit of mystique. You'll see the stewards handing the girls their sashes, their grooms or valets, wasn't it, Rob? We'll go and attach the sashes to their shoulder with a safety pin, and then they'll all be back.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you in the grandstands, just letting you know that very shortly our Garryowen Equestrian Turnout competitors will make their way back out onto the Coca-Cola Arena before we get underway with the official presentations out there with my co-commentator in Rob Gaylard. So also at the completion of our Garryowen Equestrian formalities, ladies and gentlemen, we will still be running with our lunchtime entertainment. Of course, we bring to you our Rooftop Express. So we see the country meeting the city, as well as our FMX Showtime motocross team. Now, be warned, ladies and gentlemen, it is a little windy out there, so the boys will give you some sort of a show, but I'm not too sure if we'll see them flipping and flying over the Coca-Cola Arena as they would normally do. So sit back and relax. In about 10 minutes' time, we'll get underway with the presentations for the most prestigious equestrian event, as you see on screen, the Garryowen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you sitting in the grandstands, very shortly we will bring to you the winner and place getters of our Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. Remembering that this event is indeed in memory of the champion hack Garryowen, whose owner, Mrs. Violet Murrell, was one of Victoria's most foremost show and cross-country horsewomen. She died at the age, well, she didn't die, but, well, yes, she did. She died at the age of 29 trying to save him from a tragic stable fire in 1934. But just letting you know, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are involved or watching the Garryowen and wanting to know what's going on, well, we have a point system is how our Garryowen is tallied. And the point system works just as this. Conformation and soundness is accumulated to 50 points. Our manners and paces is 40 points. Our riding ability is given for 40 points. General appearance is 20 points. Costume is 20 points and our saddlery is 20 points as well. So all in all, we have a score of 200 points that can be totalled for our winners. So as you can see, with all of those categories to be calculated, there is quite a bit for our computers and our judges to work out. So don't go too far away, ladies and gentlemen, because very shortly the results will be given for our 2014 80th anniversary Garryowen Equestrian Turnout.
I think any young girl who's ever
I don't know. Helen, if the wind blows them out of your hand, you're in trouble because I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin our presentation ceremony, please stand and welcome to the stage to sing the national anthem, Natasha York. Natasha has sung at many public events and recently performed at the Brisbane Cabaret Festival and the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. As this is Natasha's very first Royal Melbourne show, please make her feel very welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Natasha York.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do invite you to give a huge round of applause to Natasha, and let's give a huge welcome to our competitors also. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Let me continue. Competitors, members of the Murrell family, past winners, judges and stewards, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Royal Agricultural Society of Victoria, I welcome you to the 80th anniversary of the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. We are pleased to honour these fine riders who have competed in the Garryowen today, and I'd like to make a special thank you to our event sponsors. Firstly, to the grandnieces of Violet Murrell, Sally Murrell-Rich and Marguerite Dorr, and also to Conception Garlands, Cedar Lodge Equine Products, and the Mitchell and Draper families. Thank you all very much for your valued support. I would also like to acknowledge and thank our horse committee, the Garryowen Working Group, my guest commentator and past winner Sarah Love, our past winners and Hall of Fame inductees of the Garryowen. Thank you all for joining us here today, and let's give them all a huge round of applause. The Garryowen is intrinsically linked with Australian history, and it is fantastic that the 80-year-old tradition has been upheld here today. The story of Violet Murrell, the accomplished horse rider and jockey who was commonly known as the Queen of Racing, secures her place in history as a true ambassador for women in the equestrian and racing industries. The event was first held in 1934 following the tragic death of Violet Murrell, who courageously sought to save her three-time Royal Melbourne Show champion winning horse, Garryowen, from a stable fire. The Garryowen remains the most prestigious equestrian event in Victoria, and we congratulate all our competitors today on their efforts. And to begin our first presentation today, I would now like to invite all the first-year competitors to step forward to receive a commemorative medallion, and also presented by Marion Costello and Marguerite Dorr. The medallions, of course, have been generously supported by the Mitchell and Draper families. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our first-year competitors to you. Exhibit number 1045 was Lisa Rapps aboard Westwood Mastercast. Exhibit number 709, Gemma Heron, her mount Black Tie. Number 1219 was Annabelle Mulready aboard DP Mayfair. Exhibit number 1355 was Laura Thomas aboard Tattinger. Number 1373 was Lillian McAvoy aboard Towering Inferno. Exhibit number 1400 was Rebecca Carolan and her mount was London Court. And finally, our first year competitor, number 223, Donna Ford aboard Grand Heist. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite Garryowen Hall of Fame inductee and four-time Garryowen winner, Helen Hegney, to announce the best first-year competitor of the Royal Melbourne Show's 80th Garryowen Equestrian Turnout. Helen, please join us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have great pleasure in announcing the winner of the First Year Competitor Award to Rebecca Carolan and London Court.
Helen's taken everything away. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our congratulations to Rebecca Carolan at London Court, being assisted by our steward, of course, Melinda Ralph, as Helen Hegney, of course, and Sarah Lee Murrell-Rich have presented our wonderful trophy and our Garryowen 80th commemorative pin. Let me just share this with you. It is a sterling silver custom-made pin handcrafted by the Melbourne Jewellery Service and kindly supported by Sally Murrell-Rich. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, congratulate all our first-year competitors and our best first-year competitor. Job well done and congratulations, Rebecca Carolan and London Court. You got your other placings? Okay, you ready? Helen, come back and join me. We'll try and battle with our PA system here just at the moment. As we move forward, I'm going to invite you to introduce our place getters from 6th through to 2nd. Ladies and gentlemen, Helen Hegney.
Sixth placing goes to Penny Ahern on Montilla.
Just hang on, darling. Just hang on. Just hang on. Congratulations, Penny, being sashed by Ragel Tricario, our general appearance judge, Kim Smith, and costume judge, being assisted also by Mr. Jason Ronald, RASV board member and steward. Helen, who has filled 5th placing.
5th placing goes to number 404, Kristen White on the Russian.
Good girl. Congratulations, Kristen. Again, being sashed by Paul Buckland, our saddlery judge, and assisted by a steward in Lynn Milburn. We move forward, Helen, who has taken 4th.
4th placing, number 1533, Heidi Pickstock on DP Amazing.
Congratulations to our 4th place getter, to Heidi and DP Amazing, who is being sassed by Nancy French, manners and paces judge, assisted by steward Jessica Krog. Getting very exciting. 3rd place goes to.
Our 3rd place getter is number 256, Rose McAvoy on HB Beautiful Encounter.
Congratulations, Rose. HB Beautiful Encounter being sashed here by Peter Hegney, our confirmation judge, And Peter is assisted by steward Elizabeth Porter. Getting closer, Helen. Who is second?
Second place getter is number 1329, Stephanie Barrington and SLM Orlando.
Well, congratulations, Stephanie. You know what this day feels like for our winner. Being sashed here by our 2014 riding judge, Marie Tompkinson, who was a former Garryowen winner herself back in 1991 and 1996. Being assisted here by Irene Luxmore. Well, Helen, the big moment. Please let us know who the winner of the 80th anniversary of the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout of 2014 is. Just got a fanfare and then announce it.
It's with great pleasure I announce the 80th anniversary Garryowen and 2014 winner as Shay Hanger and chosen one.
2008, wasn't she? 2008? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is customary every year with the Garryowen that the winning horse receives a beautiful floral garland, which is being presented today by David Calvert from our sponsor Conception Garlands. And very shortly I'll get David and Melinda to escort our winning rider over here to the presentation area for the awarding of the Garryowen Trophy, the winning sash, and of course the commemorative pin. And for this young lady, this is the second time she's won this award. And it is so fitting, here we as we celebrate on the 80th year of the Garryowen. This is the grandniece of Violet Murrell. Shay, I invite you to wipe away a couple of those tears and come down and join me. I'll do her interview first. No? Okay, just hang on, Dave. Just before I have a chat with our winner, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to put your hands together and thank all our place getters and our competitors for the 2014 Garryowen as they leave the arena. Thank you very much. ...2008, wasn't we? We're out here both crying together.
We were, and I won it on Warwind.
Okay, let's start from scratch this morning. It would have been a very special day for you because it's a very special event to you, your family and everyone concerned.
It is, especially being the 80th year.
Tell us a little bit about your horse, chosen one. Of course, 2008, you won it on a different horse. And always very hard to try and replace something, Shay, in relation to having the success and being where you've been before to come out and do it again.
It is. Well, with Warwind, I'd already been to about 6 Royals with him, and he'd been champion show hunter at every Royal in Australia that I'd been to. And this horse has only been to 10 shows. I purchased him from Tony Noonan. He actually judged the conformation and soundness here a couple of years ago. And I saw him at the trainers at the stables, and he said, "I've got one that I reckon could win the Garryowen." I said, "Oh yeah." So he kept at me saying, "You've got to really look at this horse." And I saw him then down at Mornington, and he told me to come, and I had a look. And yeah, so he'll be thrilled, and so will the owners.
Well, we're lucky today. We've got Helen Hegney behind me, or she was behind me a moment ago. Helen, of course, who was a 4-time winner of the Garryowen. You now put yourself into the record books as now a 2-time winner. You've only got 2 to catch up with her.
Oh, look, 1's enough, but to get a second is unbelievable, especially on this horse.
Shay, congratulations. I'm sure everybody up there on the grandstand would love to congratulate you as well too. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and show your appreciation for our winner for 2014 on a very, very special day for not only Shay but for the family, to Sally Murrell and all her family as well too. I'm sure this is going to be a fitting result for you people as well too. Finally, if I can ask Helen to make the presentation of our winning sash to our Garryowen winner. Sally Murrell-Rich, this is going to give you a big buzz, isn't it? I feel almost like interviewing you here. Well, while you're doing it, let's have a chat with you. Sorry, John, we're just going to put our script to one side for a moment. Sally, what a wonderful day. As I said to Shay before, oops, the daisies. As I said today, 2008 was a great day for us out here at the moment. Now settle down, you two. There's tears all around here. I've still got to get through this as well too. Can you talk to me or not?
Yes, yes. I'm just so happy. It's just incredible. It's really interesting. The first time I started, I wanted to do a trophy this year, and the time before I changed around and was giving prize money. Shay won it that year, and then she wins this year. So it's just incredible. And I now will be seeing the lovely pin that my jeweller and I designed. It's a lovely gold and diamond pin, and she'll be able to wear it wherever she goes now.
Well, we often say in the sporting world the tradition continues. We can honestly say that the tradition continues here.
Yes, it's just incredible. It's just like a dream, isn't it?
Well, you sit down and wipe your eyes and I'll try and get myself back together as well too. Where's my notes, John? Let's talk, or otherwise I can make them up as we go along. Thank you very much. I'm really pleased also, as I mentioned before, there are some other wonderful portraits to be made here, and a portrait commissioned by Jason Roberts to commemorate your win today, Touche. Along with today's place getters, you'll all receive a special trophy rug, the courtesy of our sponsor, Cedar Lodge Equine Products, and also a special gesture to this 80th Garryowen, ladies and gentlemen. Our winning rider will also receive a custom-designed Marguerite door glass diningware, proudly supported by Marguerite. So congratulations once again, and I'd invite you all to head back to our winner's circle as we invite you to mount up and go for a lap of honour. And while you're doing that, ladies and gentlemen, give me a huge round of applause to all our place getters and our 2014 Garryowen winner in Shay Hanger. That concludes our presentation today, ladies and gentlemen. We again sincerely thank you to our distinguished guests, our judges, to our stewards, our presenters and our sponsors. And of course, above all, we do thank the competitors. We trust that you've enjoyed our presentation, and we look forward to returning next year for the Garryowen Equestrian Turnout at the Royal Melbourne Show 2015. Thank you very much. It has been my pleasure to be your host for today, and good afternoon to you all.